Alright, let's get started. Okay. So, for the show tonight, we're back in 3D World, so we'll be playing through that. The goal is, we're gonna 100% the game. Oh shit. So yeah. Oh, did I not? Fuck, man. Alright, while this opening cutscene's playing, I can fix that. I always forget, man. I always forget. Okay. There we go. That's better. So, the goal is, we've got, what, 30 shines? 31 cat shines? We do not need that much to finish this. Okay, no, it's actually closer to 4. It's 43. There's 100 cat shines total. I thought we were at least 60. No. So, we're gonna come in, we're gonna get these remaining cat shines, beat the game. I was gonna say it'd take us about an hour, probably closer to an hour and a half. I had 10 less than I thought. So, we'll come in, we'll get all these cat shines, and then once we do that, we'll maybe boot up Splatoon? Because there is a Splatfest going on right now, and we have not touched Splatoon since... Oh, Glaw. I couldn't even tell you the last time we touched Splatoon. It's been so long. But Bowser's Fury here shouldn't be too bad. I don't think it's that long. All the time-sensitive shines, with one exception, clearly, we did last time. We missed the one on this island, because I'll be honest, I always forget about this island. But other than that, we got every cat shine that needed a Bowser. So we just got to get the remaining ones, and that should be it. Second thing I should say, as I know last week I mentioned I was sick. Normally, I've been sick for basically 2 weeks now. By this point, I should have been fucking over it. But for some reason, I got worse. Like, somehow in this past week, I have somehow gotten worse. I think I have COVID, or something along... You know, COVID's still around. I know that was... We're coming up on, what, 5-6 years since then? Yeah, it's still kicking around. And I may have multiple vaccines at this point. But clearly that's not enough. I need to get rid of that. So yeah, that's my guess. But who fucking knows anymore? But yeah, I'm on 2 weeks of this, and it sucks, and I'm not getting any better. Luckily, I mean, up until like 2 days ago, it was mostly just a very runny nose, and then kind of a sore throat as a result of that runny nose. But this week, like the past like day or two, maybe it's just because it's been really cold. I've been really cold. Because, like, it's been snowing here. So, yeah, I've been cold. Which, normally, I'm not the type of guy who gets cold. But, yeah, so when I frequently stop to, like, cough and whatnot, I'm gonna try to mute the mic whenever I do. Like normal. You know, I'll try to mute the mic whenever I can. I'm obviously not going to catch everyone, but gosh dang it, I'm going to try. So, the third thing before we get into the news and everything. Normally, I always talk about January as a dead month. Nothing ever happens in January. There's, you know, a few minor stories. I predicted Xbox was going to do a showcase at some point. That did get announced. We're going to talk about it in a little bit. But normally, nothing happens in January. January's a dead month. But last week, we had like 3 stories. Admittedly, they were all kind of minor, but we still had 3 stories. This week, we've got 4. There's enough news this week that it could be any other week in the year. Yeah, dead January isn't that dead this week. And admittedly, next week could be dead, but... I came into this week being like, oh, we'll have like the 3 things on WIBE, you know, the animes we forgot to talk about, and that was going to be it. No, we got plenty of stuff. Now, admittedly, part of the reason January is so dead is because of CES, which, while a tech convention show, most years we do not talk about CES. I do not waste my time on CES, because mostly it's just a TV pissing contest to see who can make the biggest, coolest TV that nobody will ever buy. In the past year or two, it's become an AI pissing contest. Which company can put the most useless AI in their product? Oh, and let's not forget Roombas. CES loves Roombas for some reason these past, like, year or two. But yeah, this year, I am covering one CES story. And that is because it is at least a little relevant to us. At least a little relevant. So I thought it only made sense to cover one CES story, but we do have 3 video game stories, and then for WIBE, we got a bunch of stuff. We got 2 food things. We got a video game. We got a TV show. We've got AGDQ, which was this week. AGDQ wraps up in like the next few hours. I'm probably gonna miss the last show because we're currently doing this show. They're doing Pokemon Emerald as the last thing. I kind of wanted to see that, but whatever. You know, I'll watch it later. I'll get into it late. We got, you know, those 2 animes that I didn't talk about last week that we probably will have time for this week. I don't know, we'll see. I got a bunch of shit this week. I don't know what it was, but yeah, January is a month that mostly is the WIBE part of WIBE. No, there's equally as much news this week. I don't know what's happened this year. You may say, oh, well, that's a good thing. I mean, I guess it kind of is, but it's just more work. You know, normally this is the part of the year where I talk about all these stupid TV shows. And instead I gotta focus on the news. Like I fucking care. So with that, let's get into our gaming news, shall we? So like I said, we have 4 stories. Our first one is out of CES, and it's kind of game related. It's more related to, you know, other interests, specifically Lego. We're talking about Lego, which we have in the past, so I would say it definitely counts. And then our second story is about Minecraft, because I do want to talk about the Minecraft news we got this week. Our third story is about Nintendo, and their update we got. And then our final story is on Xbox. Because, you know, Xbox normally does do a... What is it? They do a showcase early on in the year. You know, Nintendo does a February showcase. Xbox the past few years has done a January showcase. So we are getting a January showcase from Xbox. So we will talk about that. And yeah, that's basically it. I'm sure there's other stuff, but those are the 4 I wanted to talk about this week. So with that, let's just get into it. So, for our first story... Lego was at CES this week. If you do not know what CES is, CES is the Consumer Electronics Show. It's a show held in Las Vegas for the past few decades. I know it's at least been around since the 80s. I don't know how old CES is. Is CES... it's 58 years old. It started off in New York City, but is normally held in Vegas nowadays. I don't know when it moved to Vegas. I'm not going to look it up. But it's been in Vegas for a long time. CES is part of the reason the NES exists. Because originally, Nintendo was going to get Sega. I think it was Sega. Maybe it was Atari. Nintendo was going to get someone to bring Nintendo games over to North America. But then, at CES, they saw Donkey Kong. I want to say it was running on the Atari, and it was like, nope, they backed out of the deal. And because they backed out of the deal, Nintendo was forced to start Nintendo of America and forced to make the NES. I don't remember the full story. I just know CES plays a role. No, okay. Nintendo was going to have Atari bring Nintendo games over to North America. Because you can play like Donkey Kong on the Atari. But at the Consumer Electronics Show, the Atari executives saw a copy of Donkey Kong running on the Commodore 64. And because they wanted exclusive rights, they were pissed off at Nintendo and canceled the deal. And as a result, Nintendo, had to make a new company, Nintendo of America. Yeah, that was it. Okay. I was like, it was somewhere up there in my noggin. So, we normally don't talk about CES. Like I said, it's all TVs, AIs, and robot vacuums nowadays. Like, you can count the number of those three products on, like, a single hand. Like, literally, the only other product I can think of at CES that I have seen this past week that falls into not one of those categories was a fucking, like, taint patch. It's just, CES is, for boosting companies' stock market value. And guess what? In the modern day, in order to boost your stock market value, you have to do AI. Like, I saw a TikTok of somebody where they were, like, talking to, like, the engineers at CES. And we're like, hey, this is a cool product. Let me, get a video of you. And then some PR people came down and were like, oh, no, you have to talk about the use of AI. Even though the product really, I guess, didn't use AI that much. Like, that's what the PR people care about, is the AI aspect of it. AI is dumb, right? Dell put out a report earlier this week that was like, people aren't buying computers just for AI purposes. But of course, we're putting all of our money into AI, and that's why RAM's so fucking expensive. And that's why the Steam machine's probably going to cost $1,000. Because for some reason, these companies think everybody just want AI. And they'll fucking burn the world down to make sure you use it. But let's get back to Lego. So Lego is not one of those CES companies. Lego, Nintendo, Microsoft, they don't really show up at CES. Like, the only one who does is Sony, and not for PlayStation. Sony shows up to show off their TVs. Again, it's a competition to see who can make the biggest TV. That's CES's secondary function. But Lego was there, and they showed off their new Lego Smart Play System. The big feature of the Lego Smart Play System is their new Smart Brick. So I want to talk about what this product is, how it works, and then I'll give my thoughts on it. So I'm going to kind of save some of those thoughts and ideas for it to the end. But what this is this is a little 2x4 brick. The stats, when you think of a Lego brick, this is more or less the one I think of. It's 2x4, it's black on the bottom, and it's got like a clear top. And it's got no screens on it. It does have lights inside. It has lights, it has sensors and synthesizers, and it can be used to make lights and sound. It's powered by a single chip that, in their words, is the size of a single stud. So it is a... So, you know, this thing is small. It's a small packaging for a small system. There's no power button, there's no buttons on this thing. Instead, you just shake to wake it up, as they show off in the demo. And it's able to detect in a 3D space. So you place it off in a in an environment, and it's able to use its sensors and its synthesizers to detect things around it. It can tell when it's moving, it can tell when it's stopped, when it suddenly stops. It can detect, like, motion, like swinging back and forth, you know, like a gyroscope. Oh yeah, I forgot about those. We have to collect, so there are those moons that only show up during Bowser's segments. There's 5 of them. So we can only get one at a time, but we'll get all those fine enough. So yeah, it can recognize this little smart brick. It could recognize colors. It can recognize certain sound. I don't think sounds, but it can recognize motions. So like the one example they show of, it's like you're in like the Star Wars cantina, and as they rock it back and forth, it changes how fast the music plays. The faster it's swinging, the faster the music is. It can detect range, so if like a figure's close to it, if a figure's far away. And then of course it can detect figures and tiles. So there are smart tiles, which have like little patterns on them. And then there are smart figures, which they do also have a pattern on them. But I'm also pretty sure the smart figure has like an NFC chip or some sort of chip inside of it that the smart brick can detect. Because like you see one of the demo videos is it's like got the smart brick and the figures on it, and then when they move it to the other side of the smart brick, there's lights on the smart brick that keep track of what side of the smart brick the figure is on. So I'm pretty sure there's some sort of chip in it that it can also detect. So like it won't work with every minifigure, but it'll work with smart minifigures, as they're calling them. But they showed off a bunch of different demos for this thing. So like you can build like an airplane and put an airplane tile on it, and it'll start, like, as you move the airplane around, it'll detect it and make airplane sounds. Alright, real quick, Bowser's Fury. Save this cat until the post-game. Never get this cat. This cat's a pain in the ass to get. But if you save it till the post-game, it can ride on Plessy, and it makes your life so much easier. Save that cat until the post-game. Learn from my mistakes. From the first time I played this game. But yeah, so you can like make a plane, put a plane tile on it, and then as you fly the plane with the smart brick on it, it'll recognize it's a plane, it'll make plane sounds. Other things, they showed like a car, and it'll like make car sounds for how fast you're moving the car. And then you could like crash the car, and it'll make a car crash sound. You can crash the car into a minifigure, and the minifigure will like scream. Now it's clear. When I say scream, the minifigure itself is not screaming. There are like the car doesn't have any sound effects on it. The smart minifigure doesn't have any sound effects on it. All the sound effects are coming from the smart brick. There are only like there's only a speaker in the smart brick. I want to be clear about that. I'm gonna probably say it again, right? Like I'm gonna phrase it again weird later. Only the smart brick makes sounds. The smart minifigures are just a minifigure with like a code and a chip in it. Nothing more than that. They showed off ducks, where you've got like a big duck, and it was like leading a row of like little ducks. Because that's the other thing, is the smart figures can interact, or the smart bricks can interact with each other, it looks like. So like the smart one, if you have like two smart bricks, they're able to like recognize each other in a 3D space. There's in the demo they do later on with the Lego TIE Fighter and the Lego X-Wing, they're like both making like dog fighting sounds. At least that's how they explain it. But yeah, so it's seeming like different smart bricks can interact with each other. From the demos we have seen of like people actually getting to test these things out at CES, they do seem to have a bit of a delay on them. So like if you put it on like a car and then you start driving the car, it takes a second for it to like realize like, oh, I'm moving, I should start making a car sound. And then when you crash, it kind of does the same thing. It like takes a second to realize like, oh, I've stopped moving suddenly, I should make a car crash sound. So yeah, that is an issue I have seen people have with it. And I get that. That's an understandable issue that I have. Another problem I've seen people had with it, that rightfully so, I completely understand, is the battery charging. The smart brick, because it's, you know, this little thing that is the size of a 2x2 Lego smart brick, it only holds a 45-minute battery charge. And you need to put it basically comes with like a charging cradle. And you can charge two at the same time. It looks like the cradle's at least big enough to hold two. But yeah, you're going to have to put it on a charging cradle. And it wireless. There are no plugs. It's all wirelessly charged. But yeah, only a 45-minute timer. That's not very much. Like the Lego Mario, I don't know how long the Lego Mario lasted, but to be fair, that was battery powered. I think that took like at least one, maybe two. I'm gonna guess two AAA batteries. So yeah, that's the smart brick. It works with the smart minifigure, which, like I said, it's like think of like a normal Lego minifigure, but on the back of the torso, it's got like a pattern on it that I think is used for recognition, but it also looks like, I think there might be a chip in it as well. My guess would be something like an NFC chip. And it looks like it's using a combination of both. The minifigure doesn't make sounds. It's all done through the smart brick. So like it won't make sound, like it won't speak, the minifigure. It won't like light up a lightsaber, right? All lights and sounds are done through the smart brick. They mentioned that like if you make like a car and then you place, you know, put the smart brick in the middle, the smart brick is able to recognize like, hey, this person is the driver of the car, and then this person would be the passenger of the car. So in theory, you know, it can recognize different people. Same thing on like a plane or something like that. Like I mentioned earlier, it can react like crashes. So like if a car crashes, and like a pedestrian runs into a pedestrian, it'll play like a screaming sound effect. So these. So the smart brick is coming in 3 sets that we know of so far in March. And they're specifically launching it with Star Wars sets. So the first set is a TIE Fighter set, which is 473 pieces, costing, and I want to be clear, make sure to emphasize this, it's a 473 set, costing $70. There's an X-Wing set, Luke Skywalker's X-Wing, which has 584 pieces and costs $100. And finally, there's the Emperor's Throne Room, which is 962 pieces and costs $160. So, if you know anything about LEGO pricing, prices are set differently for different sets. But the rule of thumb is that it's 10 cents per piece. You know, there are some sets that are really good at that, and that are, you know, pretty cheap to get, where you're like, oh, maybe it's only 8 cents a piece. And then there are other sets that are more expensive, that cost, you know, like 15 cents a piece. Famously, the Nintendo sets are more expensive, and the Star Wars sets as well, because they have the Nintendo IP or the Star Wars IP, and licensing those IPs costs money, and of course that money comes back to us, the consumer. So, you know, Nintendo and Star Wars sets are more expensive. But even with that, a big problem with modern day Lego, and you can ask people about this, right? This isn't just something I'm pulling out of thin air, is the pricing. Everything is getting more expensive. Even me, someone who only really cares for like the botanical Legos, and I guess the occasional Nintendo set. The botanical sets themselves are also getting more expensive. What used to be like a $30 set is now costing, you know, closer to $50. Sets are just getting more expensive, and same thing with the Star Wars and the Nintendo sets. So seeing these price points is already a massive red flag. Because Lego's already too expensive. And now they're charging $100 for a 584 piece X-Wing set. I'm sure you could look up a current X-Wing set, and it'll cost way less than that. You know what, fuck it, let's just do that right now. Okay, I'm gonna open up Target. Let's see, there's gotta be an X-Wing set on sale. Of course, it's just bringing me fucking fourth wing. Alright, let's try not Target. Let's just go here. I know it's just going to take me to the Smart Brick set. So there is a set that can get you a TIE Fighter and an X-Wing. Both of them. For $100. Well, it's $110. It's on sale, though. But yeah, you could get both of those sets, an X-Wing and a TIE Fighter, for $100. Whereas with the Smart Play system, it's $100 just for the TIE Fighter. Actually, I'm seeing here on Lego's website, it's only $90. Huh, interesting. Is that... Are my prices... 90 for the X-Wing... 70 for the TIE Fighter, and 160 for the third one. Okay, so for some reason my X-Wing price is wrong, but the other two are correct. Weird. But yeah, so that basically tells you that on top of an already existing Star Wars tax, these smart bricks are adding an extra... Well, it's interesting because it changes based on the set. So I did the math for this earlier. I guess my math is a little wrong now. But if you buy the TIE Fighter set, based on, again, at the idea of 10 cents per piece, at 473 pieces, that would mean the set would normally cost around $47, taking in a Star Wars tax. Maybe they'd round that up to 50, maybe 55. This set is 70. So I could see the argument of, oh, this is a $50 set, and then the Smart Brick costs an extra $20. So it's a $50 set plus an extra $20 for the Smart Brick. Okay, that kind of seems to be the basic argument. But then for the X-Wing, at 584 pieces, that puts it at a $60 set, again, 10 cents per piece. That would mean the Smart Brick was $40. Well, I guess at 90, that means it's 30. So you're paying an extra, either you're paying an extra 10 for the Star Wars license compared to the other set, or the Smart Brick just costs $10 more. And then same thing with the Emperor's Throne Room. That's less than 1,000 pieces would be $100. This is less than 1,000 pieces. So if you're paying for the set, let's add $20 for the Star Wars tax. That's still a $40 Smart Brick. And it's the fucking Emperor's Throne Room on top of that. A set that we have also seen time and time again. Yeah, no, that Emperor's Throne Room one, at that price, really does feel like a ripoff. Now, these are not the most expensive LEGO set of all time is a Star Wars set. It's that Death Star set at $1,000. There is another X-Wing you can buy for $250, but it does look to be a lot bigger. Yeah, that Death Star set's $1,000. I'm seeing if there's another Emperor's. I've got LEGO's website open. There's a Snoke's throne room. Okay, whatever. But yeah, either way, these sets are very expensive. Especially that Emperor's Throne Room one. And I would not at all... Right, I think this is one of the biggest complaints of this whole Smart Brick thing, is the price. That, like, LEGO's already expensive, and these are just more expensive on top of that. So I totally understand that counter-argument. Not only do I understand it, I agree with it. That these are very expensive. Of course, my other thoughts on this, because that's basically all the news we have on this. Well, with sans one example. I've seen a lot of people say that, oh, this is the death of imagination. That, you know, as kids, we would play with the Lego, and we make a car, and we just make the car sounds with our mouths. Right? We would just make the car sounds. Same thing with, like, spaceships or planes. We would just make a rocket sound or a plane sound. That this is just taking that away from kids and making them less creative. I've seen that complaint, and I do understand it. I know where people are coming from with that complaint. I do not think this is the complete death of imagination like some people are working it out to be. Like, this ain't no ChatGPT. But I do definitely think that this is taking away some level of creativity from a consumer. Now, would it be really cool if you could, like, program these sets and maybe add in, like, your own sound effects? Like, maybe there's a way, if it's anything like the Mario set, you'd be able to, like, hook it up to, like, an app, and maybe you'd have, like, some tiles that are just blank tiles. And you could be like, oh, you know, well, I want it so that way when I tap on this tile, it'll play, like, my own plane sound effect. Basically work in that, like, game builder, create your own coding aspect to it. That would be really cool. I'd actually like that a lot more. Because that takes, yes, the old creativity is, you know, cheaper. And, you know, more creative. But if you were to, like, be able to, like, create your own stuff, so that way you could, like, create your own set and make your own custom sound effects, that would be much more interesting. And that teaches, you know, kids, like, STEM stuff. I would like that. But as far as I know, we have seen no evidence that we're going to be able to do that. In fact, we've kind of seen the opposite, because specifically on the Star Wars sets, it really does seem like Nintendo wasn't, or not Nintendo. God, I'm so used to shitting on Nintendo with these sort of things. It does seem like LEGO wasn't able to get the rights to the Star Wars sound effects and music. Now, the sound effects I don't think sound that bad. I've seen some people say the Star Wars sound effects are awful, like the lightsaber sound effects. I thought the lightsaber sound effects were fine. They didn't sound too far off for me. Now, the music, on the other hand, there's specifically a video of Mos Eisley's Cantina and the Cantina Band. You know exactly what the Cantina Band sounds like. Go watch that video. It sounds nothing like them. They did not get the rights to the music. It sounds like a completely different thing. We all know what jizz music sounds like. That's not jizz. I wouldn't even say that's jazz. So yeah, the music is fucked. But if we were able to like do our own like custom music and sound effects, that would fix that issue. There must be some way to do sound effects with these. Unless they're storing all that data in the tile, you would think you would have to update the smart brick. Because that's with the Mario figure. Like the Lego Mario figure, I have one of them. I'll fully admit that. I tested it out. I have to update that thing to like get it to like do new stuff. So I'm sure that's in there somewheres. But yeah, I don't think this is as big death of creativity as other people are saying it is. But it's not the death of creativity, if that makes sense. But I just think the big problem is that they're just too expensive. At these price points, it's just too expensive. So, yeah, I don't think this is the worst thing in the world. I don't hate this as much as some other people are. I totally understand wanting to clown on it, though. If you want to clown on it, go right ahead. I've seen some real funny jokes about this thing. Yeah, no, rightfully this deserves to be clowned on. You know, Lego's hubris. But, like, I'm not going to defend it, the smart brick, but I'm also not going to, like, completely shit on it. Like, I'm not going to waste my time. Listen, this isn't Lego's first time messing around with technology. Yes, this does feel like an evolution of the Mario sets, but Lego has done technology before this. There was like this Lego like booth thing that you could put your figures in, and it connected to an app that didn't work. There was like a rudimentary smart brick thing that they did before this that also didn't work. This was, you know, Lego has tried to implement technology many times before. This is not the first. This is also definitely not going to be the last. But if it's anything like those other things, this will inevitably just fail and they'll move on to the next thing. It all depends, you know, if everyone's, you know, clowning on this as like the death of creativity and that it's too expensive, then it should reflect in the amount of people that buy it. If it's too expensive, then nobody will buy it and it'll just fail and we'll move on to the next thing. Of course, there is one asterisk to that. That being Pokemon. Part of the reason, because this is an evolution of the Mario thing. The Mario thing was, you know, Lego and Nintendo coming together to make Lego sets more into, like, games. It was trying to gamify the Legos you build. Which I know which people still had a problem with, but I know they had less of a problem than they do with the smart brick thing. Because the smart brick is just like, whereas Lego Mario was trying to gamify what you build. Whereas this is just doing the sound effects for you. Yes, the Lego Mario did sound effects as well, but there was like a little mini game you played with it on top of that. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But we know that in the future, probably June and July, they're going to be making Lego Pokemon sets. And some of these Lego Pokemon sets will come with a smart brick. Currently, the rumored Lego Pokemon sets these are the ones coming out in the summer. So there are 3 sets coming out in February, but then there are 3 sets coming out in summer. The summer sets are a Squirtle's Training Buggy Adventure, a Charmander's Wild Encounter with Geodude, a Pikachu training house, which this is the one we know has a smart brick. So the Pikachu's training house will come with a smart brick. There's a Cubone versus Gengar Ghost Challenge, a Jolteon and Charizard set, a Score Bunny Evolution line set, a Stadium Bus that has Larvitar and Croagunk, an Evolution thing, a Dojo House with Riolu, a Mewtwo Lab, and more. And it says here that all summer sets are smart play sets. So that means even if they don't all come with a smart brick, they will all be smart brick compatible and will be able to react with one another. I fully believe that. And yeah, the idea of, okay, well, you've got the Pokemon, you buy the Pikachu house with the smart brick, and then you buy the Riolu training dojo, and then you could use the smart brick to make Riolo and Pikachu battle each other. Like, I kind of see that, and it's kind of like the Mario set, it's gamifying things, but it's just, the technology's a little more advanced, and instead of it being this ugly-ass Mario figure, maybe we'll actually get a fucking Riolu minifigure. Or maybe we won't. Maybe there'll be all these ugly brick-built contraptions. We have no fucking idea. We will probably know within, like, a month's time, because Pokemon Day, a little more than a month, like, a little more than a month and a half, but still. Yeah, I'm going to call it right now. The big thing of Pokemon Day this year. Sure, they'll talk about Gen 10 at the very end. We'll get a release date for Pokemon Champions. But the big thing is going to be the Lego. I think they're going to... And you better believe there is a Pokemon tax. I would argue the Pokemon tax is probably worse than the Nintendo tax. So these Pokemon Lego sets are going to be fucking expensive. Hopefully they're just less ugly than some of those Nintendo sets are. Because some of those Lego Nintendo sets were ugly. The Mario ones. The Zelda one's fantastic. Oh my god, I love the Zelda one. But the Mario ones with the brick-built figure, like, we don't have a Mario minifig, which is just kind of weird. Oh my gosh. But I just keep coughing, man. But okay, that's basically all I have to say about the Lego Smart Bricks. I have no intention of picking one of these up. I mean, I guess it depends on how cute that Pokemon set is. But at the moment, I have no intention of picking up any Pokemon sets. I am perfectly happy sticking to my Lego Botanicals. I got that Peace Lily set and that little cactus set. They're both adorable. I built them both already, and they look great. So yeah, I have the Lego Pokemon, especially Lego Star Wars. I could give... As a kid, I maybe would have been excited for this, because I had some Lego Star Wars sets. But as an adult, I just don't care anymore. Lego Star Wars does nothing for me. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that. I think some people are making this out to be worse than it is. I do see this as an obvious evolution of Lego, but it is expensive, and well, I don't think it's the death of creativity. It's not doing it any favors. Alright, with that, let's talk about Minecraft. So, recently, Minecraft changed their new system. We're no longer in the 1.21 update. We're now in 1.26.1 or whatever. Everything's different. And we got our first, info on what the next drop is going to be. We don't have a name for it yet. We just know it's going to be something cutesy. Because they revealed in their first snapshot of the year that they're redoing all the baby mobs. So we get to see new designs for the baby mobs. And they're just making... Before, how baby mobs currently worked in Minecraft is that it's just the normal mob, but the body is smaller and they have a big head. I'll be honest, I think they look kind of cute. Like, yes, it is just the pre-existing mob with a big head, but I still do think they're kind of cute. Admittedly, not every baby mob works like that. As you know, some mobs do actually have, like, baby stuff. Specifically thinking of stuff like the tadpole. But for the other mobs who have worked the same way for a long time, no, they are redoing how the babies work. So the one we see, for example, we have some that the babies are just, new designs. So it's like the cow, the sheep, the pig, the mushroom. They kind of look like how they did before, but now they have like a new... It's not just the normal mob's face, but with a, big, like smaller... No, they've got a brand new face. They look a little shorter, a little stumpier. Instead of having like black and white eyes, they just have little black pupils. Kind of like Hoppers, that new Pixar movie. And I'll be honest, I think all these designs look great. I think this is a welcome change for the designs. I think the pig, the cow, the mushroom are all adorable. I do not care for the sheep. I feel like the sheep is missing something. I just don't know what. The sheep is like the only one of these new babies I don't like. But yeah, of course these also include all the different colors. So like, if it's, the warm, the tropical, or the warm, the temperate, or the cold. Each of the different biomes has their own different texture to it. But, it's kind of similar to what was going on before. I think they look good. The next one is the chick. So, a baby chick and a chicken look different. And so, before, the baby chick was just a mini version of the chicken. Now, it actually looks like a little yellow chick. And this is perfect. The baby chick is just a yellow cube. It's a little 3x3 yellow cube. It's got a little beak. It might be 4x4. And it's got little wings. It's adorable. The baby chick, they cooked with the baby chick. It, of course, it's got the yellow color. It's got a the warm one, which has like little orange stripes. And then it's got a blue one, which is for the cold one. I think they look adorable. We got 9 baby wolves, which are just, the 9 types of wolves that have already existed. But they're in slightly different, they got the different colors. Yes, the puppies do look adorable. We got 12 types of cats, including the ocelot. Because for some reason, the ocelot's still in the game, even though they can't turn into cats anymore. I feel like the ocelot's only there because it was originally there. Because cats and ocelots are two different things, as they have been for the past, probably 7 years. But no, I don't feel like we need the ocelot anymore because of how they changed the cat, but whatever. The one thing I do like about the baby cats is that they, kind of like the parents, they have different eye colors. So, if the cat has green eyes as an adult, the baby cat, instead of having, 2 black eyes, will have 2 green eyes. Or the calico that has blue eyes, the baby will also have blue eyes. Or if it has heterochromia, the baby will have heterochromia. That's cute. I like that detail. Now, the one that got the biggest change was the rabbit. Because not only did we get a new baby rabbit, but they also changed the rabbit's design. The new Minecraft rabbit is a lot chunkier than the old Minecraft rabbit. the old Minecraft rabbit was just like a bunny, you know, and they've used the same texture for a long time. And then the baby was just a small version of that same bunny. The new one, it's the bunny, the new baby looks like how the rabbit currently does. Sure, the animations are different, but other than that, like, the baby kind of looks like how you would think it does. The adult, however, it looks different. Like, the body is more chunky. It's got, like, a big square body now. The animations have been vastly improved. The rabbit just looks a lot better. I will be honest, I do think the baby rabbit is too big. Like, if you look at the size of the adult rabbit and the baby rabbit's just too big. I feel like they need to cut it in size, if not by half, at least by, like, a third. I think it's just a little too big. But other than that, I do like the new baby rabbit. I do like the new adult rabbit. And yeah, I definitely think this was a needed change. Or at least it looks better. Because, you know, they added, what really sells it is the animation. The new animations are very good. You know, it wiggles its tail, it wiggles its ears. It's very cute. The new animations are really well done. I'll fully give them credit on that. They also seem to not, at least from the clips I saw, they seem to not jump as high as anymore. So it looks like it'll be easier to, like, keep them in, like, corrals, because it's kind of a pain in the ass to keep rabbits, because they could just escape. But it looks like that might be less of an issue now. And of course, the killer rabbit is still there. It's in the game. The big thing is, though, that there is a baby killer rabbit, and the baby will also kill you. Of course, in order to get that, you need to name tag it. But they have made that easier. So the name tag in Minecraft was always one of those things where it's like, why isn't this craftable? Kind of like the saddle for the longest time. It's like, why can't we craft a name tag? It's like Mojang wanted them to be rare, but then they get used in a bunch of shit, and it's like, why not? You know, Mojang, you're all about creativity, but yet something that we actually use for creativity, no, you can only get it through, like, dungeons and fishing. Like, what? The fact that this is 2026, and we're finally getting craftable name tags is crazy. It was the same thing with saddles. Like, Mojang is mad that everybody uses Elytra. And if they could, they'd remove the Elytra from the game. And yet, you know, you had to fish up a saddle or get it from the dungeon. It took years for them to add 15 years for them to add a saddle crafting recipe. Like, part of this is your fault. Same way with minecarts. You want people to start using minecarts, quadruple their speed. Camman18 is right. So yeah, you can now craft name tags. It's a piece of paper and a nugget. Now, the nugget can be iron, it can be gold, it can be copper, doesn't matter. It's one of those recipes where, as long as you're using a nugget of some variety, it'll work. And now, in theory, you could name all your Minecraft pets like you could your Pokemon. This is something that should have been in the game years ago. And the fact that we're only getting it now, I find a little bit crazy. But hey, at least it's finally happening. And yeah, so this does make me wonder. Of course, Mojang said that, hey, the next update is going to be a very cute update, that they're working on more cute things other than just this. So I do have to wonder, are we going to get more baby mobs? There's, other peaceful mobs, like the turtle, the horse, the fox, all have baby variants that could also use an update. So I wouldn't mind any of those mobs getting updated. Another one that made me think of is, of course, the villager, Because right now, baby villagers are just smaller, you know, testificates. So I could see them getting an update as well. Baby zombies, I know the chicken jockey was a big thing, but we could get a new chicken jockey. You know, they could align it more with the villager or whatever. I don't know exactly how they do it, but I could see... I think it'd be funny to make the baby zombie even cuter. Because it's so fucking annoying. I, however, do not want a baby skeleton. Or if they do, give it like a sword. I do not want a baby skeleton with a bow. That sounds fucking miserable. I did see someone suggest baby creeper on Twitter. It was a photo on Twitter of a baby creeper. That is an adorable design for the baby creeper. And it got me thinking, because part of the problem with these baby mobs is like, yes, they look very cute, but they'll eventually grow up. I guess on Hermitcraft, they use a plugin that stops baby mobs from growing up. I get that. I understand where that's coming from. My idea, though, maybe they should let us make stuffed animals. Let us make stuffed animals of different baby mobs that we can then, one by one blocks, that we can then place in our house. And maybe kind of like the golems and whatnot, they can be posable. I think that would be a lot of fun. Letting us make stuffed animals. Because that's been a mod forever now. I think it's also been like figures. But letting us make stuffed animals. So of course we've got all the babies we just talked about. But then maybe also give us like a baby zombie. A baby creeper. Oh god, is the baby... not the shulker. The strider. I think the strider. Baby camel. Right? Let us make stuffed animals. I think that would be very cute. So that's an idea as well. But yeah, overall, I think the baby mobs are a cute idea for an update. I get the appeal of it. It's just a question of, you know, will they do it? Or, you know, how far are they going to take it? But yeah, I'd be down for stuffed animals. I think that'd be fun. So yeah, that's the new Minecraft update. It's cute. What can I say? When they say they're making things cute, they did a good job, but the sheep is missing something. I don't know what it is, but the sheep just needs a little something more. But it's like 90% of the way there. So with that, our next story is Mario Tennis. So Mario Tennis, the new one that comes out next month, got an overview trailer. Because there's not going to be a Nintendo Direct this month, and it's going to be next month, but, you know, they should probably get some information to us, the public. So on Nintendo Today, they put out an overview trailer. Well, they put it out on YouTube and all that. So I thought we'd talk about it real quick. I've said in the past, I don't care for Mario Tennis. My inherent problem with Mario sports games is I love the idea of a Mario sports game, but in execution, I find most of them to be kind of boring. Because when I think Mario sports game, I think of like what we're currently dealing with here in Bowser's Fury. You know, these wacky, colorful worlds with these colorful characters. Where, you know, we have a cat suit, a tanuki leaf, a boomerang flower. You know, we have all these power-ups that we can use. And the problem is, a lot of Mario sports games are just, hey, we're just gonna make you play that sport, but you're Mario. Like, if I wanted to just play tennis, I'd boot up Wii Tennis. Wii Tennis is just the perfect tennis game. If I wanted to play golf, I'd just boot up Wii Golf. If I wanted to play Mario Strikers, I'd go pull out the GameCube version. You know, back when creativity actually existed. But in recent years, a lot of Mario sports games have just been what if Mario played the sport? No creativity, nothing interesting, just, hey, it's Mario playing tennis. You can't even tell he's in the Mushroom Kingdom. This just looks like you could tell me Serena Williams is at this court, and I'd believe you. Golf has a similar issue. Admittedly, at least golf plays around with like, hey, Snow World, Lava World. But it's still basically the same thing. Now, the worst Mario sports game, Mario Tennis Ultra Smash, was this to a T. Like, it had one gimmick, that being the characters could turn big, and that was it. It was just fucking tennis, no special courses or courts. It was just tennis, but occasionally you just turn big. It is the definition of a game Nintendo just shat out. What Mario Tennis Ultra Smash was fucking awful. One of the worst games Nintendo's made in the 21st century. Mario Tennis Aces, its sequel on the Switch, which is, the game's what, like 8 years old nowadays? It's not even really that old. I know 8 years can seem like a long time. That's not that long at all. It's been 17 years since the last Mario Baseball. But Mario Tennis Aces, it at least tried to be a little more interesting. It had some more creativity. In the tennis aspect, they actually used some of the language from like fighting games when designing their tennis game. Like, you could do like light and heavy attacks, and you could, break your opponent's racket to win the game. Like, there were elements of like a fighting game in Mario Tennis Aces. But I just didn't find it that interesting. There was, I wanted tennis plus something, plus something wacky and zany, creative Mario. And Aces was better than Ultra Smash. But it just wasn't that much. Sure, there was a campaign that was fine, but it wasn't anything that special. Overall, I was disappointed with Mario Tennis Aces. To be fair, I never even bought the game. I only, borrowed it once and played in, the betas. But I was never too impressed with it. So for Mario Tennis Fever, you have all the classic tennis stuff. Oh, you can do basic shots. You can add top spin. You can do slices and lobs. It's all the classic tennis stuff, but the big gimmick this time around is what they're calling Fever Rackets. So these are rackets that you can, there's 30 of them, and each character can use any racket, and depending on the racket you use, it changes the power-up you gain access to. So you have to, while playing, you build up a fever gauge. Once it's charged up, you can launch a fever shot, which has a special effect. So some of the fever rackets are, there's a fire racket that will shoot the course with a fireball, and then it leaves behind little fires that the enemy might accidentally run into. There's an ice racket, which shoots an ice shot, but it also leaves behind a patch of ice that the opponent can slip on. There's a pokey racket, where whenever it hits, it spawns a pokey that, can trip up the player. There's a shadow racket, which allows you to do 2 players, presumably in, a 1-player thing. Even though I could see with multiple people, it might make, 4 people on screen. There's a golden dash mushroom, the golden dash mushroom from Mario Kart. It's there, and it allows you to quickly dash across the course. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, that's adding some depth to things. There's an electricity racket where it shoots down those, electricity guys, and it kind of works like the Beetles and Pikmin, the Anoid Beetles, where they, form an electricity chain with each other. That's kind of neat. There's a bunch of other rackets. There's, an ink one that looks like the ink from Super Mario Sunshine. Not like the black goo in this game, but the Sunshine stuff. That's kind of cool. So yeah, there's 30 different rackets. They all have different power-ups. They show that you can actually reflect a fever shot. So let's say your opponent hits one at you. If you can hit it back, before it touches the ground, you can actually turn it against your opponent. Make their own power go against them. You can volley them, of course. That's interesting. I like that mechanic. Of course, I mentioned earlier, you know, Aces had fighting game mechanics. This also has fighting game mechanics. Specifically, you have a health bar, and if you run out of HP, you get kicked off the course and go into, like, timeout until your HP recovers. That's kind of interesting. I do not know if you see a 2v1 or a 2v2 where you're waiting for the second, where you're like, while one person is out, the other person's still playing. I don't know if you run out of HP in a 1v1, do you just lose the match? Because I'm pretty sure in Aces, if you run out of HP, you just lose the match. If your, like, racket breaks. So that'd be interesting to know. But yeah, and then of course, if you're playing in doubles, if both players hit are using like the same fever racket, and they both hit the shot together, it'll become like an even stronger shot. Yeah, all of this fever racket stuff, it seems more interesting. It's making it tennis, but there's something else. Because this is also my problem with the Mario and Sonic at the Olympic game series. Is like, yes, they're the official game of the Olympics. They do have to just recreate the Olympic sports. But then they also have the dream events, which are like, hey, let's get more magical, more creative. And then there's only like 9 of them per game. Like, I don't just want tennis. I want tennis plus something else. And fever rackets, at least in some way, shape, or form, seem to be doing that. So at least on that level, I am more interested in Mario Tennis Fever than I have been in the last, like, 3 Mario Tennis games. Next up, they talked about new characters. Goomba's in one of these games, finally. Nabbit is in the game. You know, after New Super Mario Bros. U, I figured Nabbit was just going to be everywheres. And it's really only been in the last, like, year or 2 that Nabbit has actually started showing up in places. Mario Kart World, this game. He wasn't in Mario Kart. I don't think Nabbit was in Mario Kart 8. Yeah, it took forever to get Nabbit into these games, and I don't know why. Nintendo was very stingy with Nabbit. But yeah, Nabbit, this is our first ever appearance of Baby Waluigi. Obviously, you know, Baby Wario, all the other babies have existed for a long time. But yeah, we've never had a Baby Waluigi. We've also still not Baby Pauline, which is good. Because that was the other thing I could totally see, is Baby Pauline. No Baby Pauline. We also know, though, no Baby Daisy or Baby Rosalina. At least in the character roster we see in the video, no Baby Rosalina, no Baby Daisy. I doubt that'll be the final case. I fully do think that both those... Because the whole plot of the story is the characters all get turned into babies. You know, partners in time style. So I do expect them to show up at some point. I was just kind of surprised they weren't, you know, by default. So there are 38 characters total, which, you know, that I want to say, because Mario Tennis Aces did have DLC, and by the time the game was done and all of its DLC had come out, which I think it was all free DLC to be fair, there were a total of 30 characters in that game. So this game's base roster is 8 more than Mario Tennis Aces. Other changes, there's Diddy Kong is back in this game. This is the first time Diddy has been in a Mario sports game as a starting character. You know, he's been added as DLC in like Mario Kart and whatnot. But as like a base starting character, this is the first time we've seen Diddy Kong in like a decade, I think someone said. It's been a while. But he has his design from Donkey Kong Bonanza. I know not everybody loves his Donkey Kong Bonanza design, but he has his Donkey Kong Bonanza design. Chain Chomp is back. I think Chain Chomp was a character in Aces. I kind of, maybe even Ultra Smash. I don't remember, but I find it funny that Chain Chomp is here. We know Luma is here. This is the first time I think Luma has been independent from Rosalina in a while. Because for some reason, Nintendo, they keep bringing back Rosalina. And they don't bring back Luma. Like, it's actually really weird. Luma is in Luma is in Mario Kart World. But for some reason, they are not a playable character. They're one of, a lot of environmental characters in Mario Kart World got turned into playable characters. Piranha Plants, Goombas, Moo Moos. One of the two exceptions that I can think of are the Mai Mais, or whatever they're called, the Talks, the Easter Island heads. They're not playable characters, and Lumas aren't playable characters. But Luma is playable in this thing. The one thing I do find interesting is we see Luma as just Luma. But we also see Luma Lee, which is the blue Luma. The depressing one from the Mario Galaxy movie. The one that talks about the sweet release of death. Yeah, they seem to be a different character. Or maybe it's a skin. I'm not entirely sure. But there seems to be both Luma and Luma Lee. That's interesting. But yeah, that's all the characters we know about so far. I'm sure, I would not be surprised if they do, again, they did DLC for Aces. I would not be surprised if they do DLC again. But, people got mad when Nintendo announced DLC before a game came out, even if this was going to be free, which, hey, I think it might not be, to be fair. We are in the greedy Nintendo era. It might not be free anymore. But yeah, obviously they're going to wait. So next up, they talked about different modes. They're going to have, of course, for people who are boring, there is going to be a classic tennis mode, which has none of the special features, doesn't have the fever rackets. It's just safe old boring tennis. There's going to be a swing mode, which is, your Wii Tennis motion control mode, for people who want that. Listen, sometimes I get why it's there. I get why some people like that. To be fair, I loved when they added the motion controls into Trombone Champ. And, people like a good Mario Tennis. So I get it. I mean, Wii Tennis. There's going to be a bunch of other tennis modes. There's a tournament mode, so you can set up tournament brackets. And during the tournament, there is an MC, which is a talking flower. Nintendo clearly really likes that talking flower. So there's going to be a red talking flower that does the tournament mode, which I'm sure you can. It seems like you can turn it off, but hey, I think it's a cute novelty. There's a trial tower, so your Mortal Kombat style fighting game tournament tower that you'll be able to climb. There's a ring shot mode where you're shooting through golden rings to see which side can get the most coins. There is a forest court where the court is covered with piranha plants, and so you start off in a small tile, but you can hit the tennis ball into the piranha plants to make your opponent's course grow, or to make your course grow and maybe your opponent shrink. Either way, playing around with the size of the tennis court is one of those things that does make the game more interesting. There is a pinball court where it's got pinball bumpers and there's the flippers at the back, and the tennis ball can bounce off the bumpers and the flipper, as can players. They can also bounce off the bumper and the flippers. That's interesting. That's unique course design that makes things more interesting. That's the kind of shit I want. Give me Wario Pinball. It's kind of I want, for these sports games, I want the same creativity in the sports games that they put into the maps of Mario Kart. If they made Mario Kart like they did the Mario sports games, every track in Mario Kart would just be Mario Bros. Circuit 3. That's it. They would just keep remaking Mario Bros. Circuit 3 from the SNES over and over again. And that's just not interesting. I don't want that. You probably don't want that either. There's a Racket Factory match, which is on the tiles on the floor have like different rackets, and you can hit them to change your racket. So in theory, you'll be using different Fever rackets in the match. Yeah, it'd be kind of like, you know how Smash Bros. Has like Squad Strike, where each stock is a different character? It kind of feels like something like that. That's interesting. And then there's a Wonder Court, which you hit the Wonder Seed, or the Wonder Flower, and it'll spawn different arenas. So there's like one with like pipes that go up and down. There's one with the singing piranha plants. Hopefully there's more than just those two. But yeah, adding some stuff from Super Mario Bros. Wonder, that sounds really interesting. I think they could honestly make an entire tennis game just based off of the Wonder effects. Like, those are all interesting enough that if they just made every court based on like, oh yeah, you know, during the match, the Wonder Flower will show up and it'll completely change the course, like, that sounds interesting. That's not just classic tennis. That adds some spice, some texture. That's what I want from your tennis game. There's an adventure mode in the game. We didn't learn that much about the adventure mode. Like, oh yeah, you know, it's kind of a tutorial. You know, you'll complete challenges. You see some bosses. You know, the big purple cheap Histocrat from 3D World is in it. I know some people with the older Mario Tennis games, I guess they had like really good RPG elements that the modern games just kind of don't have. Like, yeah, Aces had a story mode, but it wasn't really anything that special. So I know a lot of people are very hopeful for this new game's story mode, but we just didn't see that much of it in this overview trailer. Now, we could get another trailer in the future that's just about the story mode, but there may just not be that much of a story mode. Which, to be fair, I think whether I pick up this game kind of depends on how detailed the story mode is. I did not hate the story mode in the most recent Mario Golf. Like, the story mode in Mario Golf, whatever it was, not Toadstool Tour, Mario Golf Super Rush, was actually kind of it. Like, yeah, you were just playing as your Mii, but there was some actual, like, depth to it. I didn't mind it that much. Of course, there's, you know, Tennis Together, 4-player multiplayer. You can do local wireless play, game share. So whether you're on, as long as one person with a Switch 2 has it, you can play with people on an OG Switch. There's online play. There's ranked play. Oh shit! I didn't realize I was at one. Whatever. I don't know how in depth. I think for Nintendo ranked play, Sakurai has set a new standard, and I don't know if the rest of Nintendo is paying enough attention. I know the Mario Kart devs definitely aren't, but I have no fucking idea what Camelot's doing. But I really hope the ranked play is more than just number go up. At least give me, like, a badge or something. Like, that's kind of all I want. It's like, yeah, number go up is fine, but also give me, like, a badge that's like, yeah, you know, I'm A rank. That means I'm better than everybody in B and C and D rank. Like, just something would be nice. And then have seasons that reset. You don't have to do much. And then finally, the last thing is Amiibo support. Of course, you know, people are big mad at Nintendo for their Metroid Amiibos. And this one, it's all cosmetic. It works with a lot of different Mario Amiibos. And it just changes the design of the ball. So if you scan in a Mario Amiibo, your ball will be like red and blue and have the Mario logo on it. if you scan in a Waluigi amiibo, it'll be like purple and yellow and have the Waluigi logo on it. Like, it's purely cosmetic. It does not affect the gameplay at all. Outside of, you know, whether or not the color actually, like, changes how you play. I'm thinking Marty Supreme, you know, where they talk about the orange ping pong balls. Like, unless something like that actually matters. But other than that, you know, I'm whatever. Amiibo support shouldn't matter. Especially, I don't think they said if you could, like, unlock these cosmetics in the game. But I would not at all be surprised if by playing through the game, you could also just unlock these cosmetic options. Okay, we got one more story, and I want to get through this before we beat this game. Or at least by the time the end credits roll. So, nextly, next, Xbox announced a new developer direct. So this is Xbox's equivalent of Nintendo Directs. Of all the studios to do like directs, Xbox is by far the worst one at it. And so this direct, that we already know some of what to expect. Specifically, it's going to include Fable, which is the first time we've seen Fable in a while. The hope is Fable comes out this year. It could be delayed. I want Fable to be good. Admittedly, I only ever played a little bit of Fable 3, and Fable 3 is not that good. But who knows? Maybe it'll be good this time. You know, the game's been in development since, like, 2017, for fuck's sake. At least it feels like it. It's probably not been that long, but it feels like it. So we know we're getting that. They're going to debut Forza Horizon 6. The question is, where is it going to be? I think the last game was in Mexico. People really liked Forza Horizon 5. So where is it going to be? New York? That'd be cool. And then finally, we're seeing an extended look at Beast of Reincarnation, which, if you do not remember, this is the game that Game Freak is making with Xbox. I admittedly don't know if they're making it with Xbox, if it's Xbox exclusive, but so far we've only seen this at Xbox showcases. And yeah, the people who make the Pokemon games, not the Pokemon company, Game Freak. They occasionally do make non-Pokemon games. Admittedly, most of Game Freak's non-Pokemon games are also just Nintendo exclusive, you know, Bit Driller, Harmonite. Pocket Card Jockey came to iOS eventually, but it was originally a 3DS game. And yeah, this seems to be Game Freak's attempt at making, like... I honestly don't know what type, if this is going to be like a Monster Hunter type or a Souls-like. I don't know. I see a lot of people glazing this game as like, hey, this is what Game Freak could do if they got out of Nintendo's thumb. Like, this is what Pokemon games could be. Nintendo's not the problem with Pokemon games. No, that's... Game Freak is still the problem with Pokemon games. Because they know that if they only spend, you know, 20 million making that game, it'll make 100 million in sales. If you know you're going to guarantee your money back no matter how much you put into it, you just put the bare minimum. And then you save that, you know, that extra 80 million you make, you then can spend on games like this. And admittedly, not all of Game Freak's games are great. The last one they made that wasn't Pokemon, that had Toby Fox do the music, fucking awful. That game sucked. But yeah, those are the three things we know. Other than that, the one other announcement we got is Avowed's 1 year anniversary is coming up, and it's going to be coming to PS5 on February 17th. It'll get New Game Plus. There's going to be new races to play, dwarves, Orlons, and Umaas. There's going to be a brand new weapon type. They're adding a photo mode and more. So, well, it might get a brief mention at the Developer Direct. That was also an announcement we got. I doubt it'll be there. The Developer Direct itself is January 22nd at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I have never reacted to an Xbox Developer Direct, only ever their E3 showcases. This is not enough to change me. I will probably watch Kinda Funny watch this, and then we will talk about it. Probably. I don't know. To be fair, by that point we will be doing Animal Crossing, but I also will not be live reacting to anything. But yeah, Xbox is doing that showcase. Woo. Yeah. To be fair, those 3 games are more interesting than most other, Xbox showcases are. Because sometimes they just have fucking nothing. But the last Xbox Developer Direct I watched wasn't actually too bad. Anything else we might see? It'd be cool to see Blade again. We know Arcane, the people who do Dishonored, are making a Blade game. And while the Blade movie is seemingly cancelled, I'd be down to see the Blade game again. That could be cool. But we'll just kind of have to wait and see. But yeah, that's that. Quick thing I didn't mention, we're getting new Joy-Con colors, light purple and light green. If you have them plugged into your Switch, you can't even tell the difference. It kind of sucks. I know D-Brand is working on a fix, but it kind of sucks. Alright, give me a minute. Let me switch over here. Hit that. I gotta switch the cartridges out for Splatoon real quick. We're getting a new Joy-Con color. The problem is that Nintendo clearly just wants to do Joy-Cons again, but they don't want to, instead of, having, the normal Switch, which I had green and pink Joy-Cons, and yeah, they look different, and they were nice. These just kind of look like what they already do. If you have them docked on the console, you can't even tell the difference. And that kind of sucks. So I understand that complaint. I've seen some mock-ups of people changing the colors. The one I liked was changing the button colors. That was more interesting. But clearly, Nintendo has no interest in that. So yeah, at the moment, honestly, outside of, having a second pair of Joy-Cons, I know people who would pick up a new set of Joy-Cons just for the new color. These Switch 2 Joy-Cons, the color is so insignificant, I don't think anybody will be picking them up just for the new color. So that's a little underwhelming, to say the least. I could not even tell you the last time I booted up this game. It has been a while. So that takes us into WIBE. Yeah, it's been so long since I played Splatoon 3. I just, I did everything I wanted to. I was sure, could I get back into S rank? Because I always get into S rank and then get immediately kicked out. I hadn't even thought about what team to join, so I just picked one. Sure, why not? Let's go solo. I'm pretty sure last time I was friends. I don't remember. It's been a long time. So for WIBE, we got 2 food things. Taco Bell and KFC. Then we've got Mario Kart. I want to talk about Mario Kart World because I have been playing it. We got Percy Jackson. We're Season 2 episodes. I have 6 written down in my notes. I'm pretty sure it's 6. I'm pretty sure we still have 2 left. I want to talk about AGDQ, because AGDQ is going on right now. I'm pretty sure their final event starts... It either starts here in a few minutes... No, it starts at 8:14, so it starts in a little over half an hour. Currently, they're doing Hollow Knight Silksong, which was a bonus game, and then the final game of the show starts at 8:14, which is Pokemon Emerald. which is being run by ADEF, which, God, that sounds great. So, preferably, I would love to end by that time. So, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm shooting to finish up by 8:14. So, basically, we've got like 45 minutes. Which, actually, that's not too bad. Admittedly, I think it was originally supposed to start at like 7:30. So, we've got time. I know the Mario 64 run ran long today, but that's okay. So, we're going to talk about AGDQ, because I've been watching a little off and on. I've got a book to talk about. I read a book, a spicy book. I did not know it was spicy going in, and found out pretty quickly that it was. And then I did put back on, there were 2 animes we were going to talk about last week. But last week, it was supposed to be a short show. I kept it as a short show. This week, I knew it was not going to be a short show, so I put them back on the docket. We'll talk about them both briefly. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all my show notes. Yep, more or less. Alright, so let's start with Taco Bell. So, I've talked about before, my favorite item that Taco Bell has ever created was the Volcano Burrito. Back in the 2000s, it was my favorite thing. And it's ironic because I'm not a spicy guy. I cannot deal with spicy foods. Not at all. But I really like the Taco Bell Volcano Burrito. And so when they brought back the Volcano Burrito a few years ago, I was very excited. And I loved it. And then when I heard a rumor last month that they were bringing back the Volcano, they were doing a Quesarito this time, but they were bringing back the Volcano stuff, I was like, nah, that's too good to be true. There's no way they're actually bringing back Volcano stuff. And sure enough, I was wrong. But I was also kind of right. Because, okay, well, it's called a Volcano Burrito, or a Volcano Taco, or a Volcano Crunch Wrap. The sauce in the Volcano menu was never called Volcano sauce. It was called lava sauce. Which, lava sauce is, I think it's a mayo-based sauce, but it's supposed to be, it uses red jalapenos and cheese. So it's like a cheesy sauce that is, spicy. People love it. This new sauce, which is not lava sauce, is called Volcano sauce. And the big difference is that, unlike the previous one, the previous lava sauce, so the OG lava sauce, used blended red jalapeno peppers. This new Volcano sauce has no real peppers in it. It's just, it's artificial now. My guess is they did it to save money. That they can now manufacture it for a lot cheaper than they could before. The other big change with this new Volcano sauce compared to the lava sauce is it uses more sugar. Like the original the original lava sauce doesn't have brown sugar in it. This new one does. So it is different. And my guess is so that way they can make it cheaper. Now, I've seen other people say that this new sauce isn't as cheesy and it isn't as spicy. Now, I can't testify to point number... I can't. So, okay, I'm sick. I might have COVID. And part of the reason I think so is because when I was tasting the sauce, there's a part of it that kind of tastes like nothing. And I can't tell if that's just the sauce. Like, I get the spiciness. But, like, I don't really get the cheesiness. But I can't tell if I don't get the cheesiness because the cheese flavor isn't as strong, or if it's just because COVID has literally fucked over my sense of smell and taste. I genuinely cannot tell. Because, like, I try smelling it, and I've just more or less lost my sense of smell because my nose is all clogged up. I mean, okay, I can smell a little bit, but not much. And so when I try to taste it, it doesn't really taste like anything. But I don't know if that's a me problem or if that's a sauce problem. Same thing with it being, you know, so yeah, I don't know if it's as cheesy. It does still taste spicy to me. I do find it spicy. It does burn my lips a lot. You know, my lips are very dry right now, so that might have been part of the reason. But yeah, no, I do not hate it. It is not the traditional sauce. It is not the lava sauce we all love. Of course, if you want lava sauce, you can make it pretty easily. People have done one-for-one recipes, kind of like the Szechuan sauce stuff, where people just looked up the original recipe and then just duplicated it one-for-one. If you want lava sauce, you can make it. It's not that hard. But yeah, this new Volcano sauce, it seems fine, but it's not the same. The other big thing, so they're selling it with the Quesarito. Now the Quesarito is right, it's a burrito, but it's got like, you know, cheese on the outs. It's got like a layer, a quesadilla wrapped in it. It's wrapped in a quesadilla. The Quesarito is fine, but if you know, the original Volcano burrito had like the brown like thing, or like the fiesta strips or whatnot in it. I also don't think it had sour cream, but I could be misremembering that. So I've seen some people be like, oh, well, you can make these modifications to, you know, get at least a little closer. What I did was, well, I had the Quesarito, and it was fine. I instead put the Volcano sauce on a grilled cheese burrito. Because the grilled cheese burrito has the fiesta strips, or whatever they're called. They actually did a spicy grilled cheese burrito that I also did really enjoy. And yeah, I feel like if they were to bring back the spicy grilled cheese burrito and then let us put this Volcano sauce on it, like, oh my god, that'd be good. But no, I put it on a grilled cheese burrito. Admittedly, I think they fucked up. And they might have, well, at least one of them, because I got two, is that they might have put potatoes on it and not put the thing on it. But luckily I ordered a cup, so I just like dipped it in it. But yeah, no, I think the Volcano sauce is fine. It's not the lava sauce. I know, but, you know, if you read some people's reaction, they will say, well, it's not the lava sauce, so 0 out of 10, fuck Taco Bell, for, you know, cheaping out. And yes, they cheaped out a little bit, but I don't think that means completely fuck them. I thought it was fine. And yeah, that's my thought on it. I think it's fine. It's nothing amazing, but it's nothing terrible either. But I also feel like my nostalgia for the Volcano burrito is so high that even when they re-released it last time, it was impossible to truly capture that nostalgia. I'm gonna be honest, I'm doing fucking awful at Splatoon. I am so rusty right now, I feel like I'm doing terrible. Now, a restaurant that can go fuck themselves is KFC. So, I feel like every time we talk about KFC, I always open up with, well, you know, last time KFC fucked up my order, but I thought, you know, 1 in every 10 times they hit last time, I thought I'd give them a second chance, and they fucked up my order again. I feel like for the past year or two, every time we've talked about KFC, I've started that exact same way. And this time it's no fucking difference. I don't know why I keep giving KFC a second chance. They consistently, without fail, fuck up my order and leave something out. I remember reading somewheres once that, you know, Chick-fil-A has the slowest drive-thru, but they have the highest accuracy. They almost never forget anything. Meanwhile, Wendy's has a moderate length, but they also have a very high error rate. KFC is, you know, it's okay on time. Sometimes they're better, sometimes they're worse. But currently, they have a 0% accuracy rate. in the past 2 years, because I have not been going to KFC. I've been a Popeyes guy. I only started going to KFC like a year or two ago. You know, in the modern era, let's say post-COVID. Say post-COVID. I don't feel like they have gotten my order right once. They have always forgotten something. They have always fucked it up. Sometimes the food is great. Like, again, KFC only hits like 1 in every 10 times. You're rolling that dice. When it hits, it fucking hits. But sometimes they just fuck it up. And I don't know why I keep going. I genuinely do not know. I think, okay, part of the reason is because the closest Popeyes to me is like a half-hour drive, and I don't want to deal with that. Like, the KFC's a lot closer, but they fuck up my order every time. I don't know why I keep going back. They haven't gotten it right in years. But when they hit, man, they hit. So KFC's new thing is poutine. They've teamed up with some celebrity chef, Mannheim. I genuinely cannot remember the guy's name. They teamed up with some celebrity chef, and they're doing poutine. Now, admittedly, it's not your traditional Canadian poutine. They're using fried cheese curds, or Maddie's Cheesy Nuggy Gravy Bowl. God, is that really what they fucking called it? Maddie Matheson. So yeah, some celebrity chef. So this is a crispy fries piled high with golden nuggets, coated cheese curds, and a rich pour of gravy. So I got that and a drink for $7. The bowl size, the content. I'm one of those people who I will stand by. Poutine is itself a meal. Potatoes have all the nutrients you need. Cheese curds add some flavor, or, cheese curds add some texture. Gravy adds some flavor. I'm talking about, like, proper gravy. I'm not talking British gravy. Like, good Canadian poutine is amazing. Like, the Canadians know what they're on about. But we don't really get good Canadian poutine here in America. Like, you would think at least, like, some restaurant would try to, like, copy it. But I feel like whenever they do, we kind of get something like this, where they use, fried cheese curds and whatnot. But this was not terrible. I like KFC gravy. The nugs are not a terrible addition. I do not think you need nuggets. Like, you do not need a meat to make a good poutine. I actually prefer a poutine without meat. But the nuggets did not ruin this poutine at all. I think they were fine with it. I actually really enjoyed this. It's not an insane amount of food, but I've also seen worse. Especially if you buy, because I also just bought the cheese curds on their own to try them. It's like $3, and you get like 5 cheese curds. They do not say that, by the way. If you open up their like menu, it just says a number of cheese curd. It just says a few cheese curds. It's 5. It's not that many. Again, assuming the employee didn't fuck anything up. It's not that many. And for that price, it's not... No, get them with the poutine and everything. Because, well, yes, you're only getting like 5 or 6. They at least work better with the fries. And yeah, I did not think this was bad at all. I'm not going to go out of my way to get it again, or, even fucking deal with KFC anytime soon, because they can go fuck themselves. But yeah, no, this was not terrible. I have definitely had God, I've made worse poutine than this. But I've also had better, and I've made better. I can't remember who... I've had poutine at another fast food place before. It might have been Burger King, but I could also have seen Jack in the Box, because I know Jack in the Box has done cheese fries in the past. And, I like their cheese fries. Maybe they did poutine and I fucked it up. I don't remember. But no, I've definitely had and made worse, but I've also had and made better. But poutine is good, man. I get it. Yeah, KFC, man. They just keep fucking up. And like, it might just be the location I go to. I know I've gone there at least once, and the employees have been stoned. They didn't seem stoned last night, but they just... My big thing is they can't read. Like, I'll be like, okay, well, you know, I want 2 of this. And they're just like, oh, well, we just see it on there, so we just made 1. Like, they don't fucking... They don't know their number. I guess they can't count is the better example. But no, they... And that's the other thing, is like, yes, while there is a KFC nearby, there's only 1. Like, the next closest KFC is... I mean, okay, there is one, but that's on the wrong side of the tracks, and I ain't going over there. I don't even think we have any combination KFC, Taco Bell, Pizza Huts anywhere near here. I don't think we do anyways. I don't know, I've heard Pizza Hut's not in a good place. Yeah, in just the past year, I've had like 2 Pizza Huts close nearby. I don't hate Pizza Hut. I don't love them, but I don't hate them either. So those are the only 2 food things I have this week. I'll tell you, next week I'm also probably going to have some stuff. Because, you know, in December and usually late November, everyone's doing Christmas stuff. Like, it was actually kind of wild. We had like a McDonald's thing to do last month. Because usually, like the shaker fries, you know, that's a big deal. At least getting them here in the US. But now that it's January, every place is doing something. Like, probably, like, I haven't eaten today. So after this, I'm probably going to go get Jack in the Box, because they got something. I know Freddy's has something. There's going to be a lot of food. There's a lot of food stuff to try in January. Still waiting for that Big Arch Burger, Nintendo. Again, all I complain about is Nintendo. Still working on that Big Arch Burger, Macca's. Come on, it's been forever. You said it was going to be 2025. Alright, so next up, I've been playing Mario Kart. Part of this is that because I've been watching AGDQ, you know, I multitask. I like to, you know, watch something and then play something or do something. And for some reason, Mario Kart has just, like, appealed to me. It's like, been like, oh yeah, I'm gonna play Mario Kart. Specifically, what I've wanted to do is I want 100% the free roam stuff. Because while, yes, I started working on the free roam stuff, I didn't actually do that much. Well, okay, I did about half the P-switches. There are just under, I think there's like 394 P-switches. Maybe 96. I had a little over 200. So it's like, okay, I had done, you know, half the P-switches. I only had like 25 question mark panels, and I also only had like 30 Peach medallions. I find the Peach medallions so hard to find. But I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to boot up Mario Kart World again, and I'm going to work on all 3 of those things. So, also, I'm not looking anything up. The only reference I had was at some point during GDQ, someone did an all question mark panel run. Was it... Who did it? Was it... I want to see who did it. Helix. Helix did a run of all question mark panels in Mario Kart World. It was only a 24-minute run. That was the only reference I had, and I only watched that one stream. I did not go back and rewatch it. I did not reference it. I admittedly did look up one thing. there was one question mark panel that I just couldn't find. And even though I had definitely looked at it, I just missed it somehow. It was one in Boo Cinema. But other than that, I tried not to look up anything. And so, at this point, just, watching that one live stream, I have now done every question mark panel. There are 150, I got all 150. Honestly, most of them were not that hard to find. The only levels I really struggled on were DK Spaceport, which that DK Spaceport was the one I was doing when the run was going on. So it was nice to watch that run, see where the two I was missing in the stream were, and then actually be able to get them. So thanks, Helix. I really needed that, because I was so stuck. Oh my god, was I so stuck with DK Spaceport. There was the Boo Cinema one, which I just could not find. And by the time, and that was already like a day or two removed. Boo Cinema was one of the last ones I did. That one sucked. What was another one that sucked? There were some that I was expecting to be worse than they actually were. I expected Bowser's Castle to be bad. Was not bad at all. Airship's Fortress wasn't that bad. Wario's Shipyard, I think one took me a little bit to find. But overall, it wasn't too bad. Toad's Factory tripped me up. It might have been like the last one on Toad's Factory I just couldn't find. There were some that were like so obvious that I'm like, how did I not find these before? Like all the Koopa Beach ones. It's like, oh god, these are all so obvious. Trying to think what Great Question Mark Block. Oh god, the one. Okay, Great Question Block Ruins was maybe one of the last. Was also probably one of the last ones I did. I did it. It was closer to the end, and I got to the point where it's like, okay, I've got 4 of them. Where the fuck am I missing one? I go through all the map. I go through it backwards, forwards, on all the walls. I'm like, oh, maybe it's on top of the Great Question Block. And then all of a sudden, as I'm driving through, I get hit with this memory from the speedrun, where I'm like, wait, didn't Helix, drive through some of those blocks, and, wasn't it hidden under them? Oh, fuck, there it is! Sure enough. Just randomly getting that memory. One that tripped me up early on was, Mario Bros. Circuit. I found 4 of them very easily, but then there's one that's, on the rocks underneath the loop at near the end, and I just could not find that one. I found a bunch of other ones, but just that one tripped me up. So yeah, there was some I struggled with, but I've gotten all 150 question mark panels. Peach Medallions, I'm still doing terribly. I'm now up to 77. Not bad, but also not good. That's less than, I think there are 200 Peach Medallions. I guess the Peach Medallions are just hidden better. I will definitely have to look up a guide for this one. The Peach Medallions just kind of suck. Oh, you know which one wasn't bad either that I was expecting to be worse with the question marks? Crown City. I was expecting Crown City to be awful. Was not bad at all. Admittedly, I think I already had half of them going in, but I was expecting it to be a lot worse than it actually was. But yeah, no, the Peach Medallions, I think the Peach Medallions are just better hidden, or they're more spaced out. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, I've only found 77 of them. And then finally for P-Switches, I'm now over 300. I've gotten around, I'm gonna guess 320. So I'm in the final stretch. It's just, there's still a lot more to do. I have not been mapping out anything. I think I remember Fur doing it. Because Fur was one of the first people to get every P-Switch as far as I know. Or at least one of the first people to stream it. And if I remember correctly in his stream, he had to create a map where he mapped out driving up and down every road, every river, every railroad track. So, like, I should maybe do something like that, but I might also just Google things. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do, but I'm definitely thinking about something like that. Or maybe I'll just say fucking and Google it. Because here's the thing I've realized doing this. At no point do I think Nintendo actually intended you to ever do all of these. Because part of Nintendo's game design philosophy in the modern world is that they give you more than what you actually need. So in Super Mario Odyssey, for example, you only need 120 moons to beat the game. So that leaves... Okay, you need 120 moons to beat the game. Oh. In Super Mario Odyssey, you need 120 moons to beat the game, 500 to get the true ending, and there are 880 total. That means that, in theory, your playthrough of Super Mario Odyssey, you can beat the game with 120, and then get a unique 380 moons, and beat the darker side of the moon. Then, on your next playthrough, you get the same 120, but then you can get an entirely different set of 380 moons to beat darker side. You can beat Mario Odyssey twice and only overlap those first 120-ish moons. There might be an asterisk here or there, but more or less, you can beat Mario Odyssey with two entirely different sets of moons. That'd actually be an interesting challenge. Beating Mario Odyssey, but, you know, each time... But if I get a moon in the first run, I can't get it in the second run. That might be an interesting run. But you get my point, right? They give you enough moons that you can beat the game, get a different set, and then beat the game again and get an entirely different set. Same thing with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. There are 1,000 Korok seeds in that game. You only need, like, 200 to get every upgrade? How many Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild to upgrade? In Breath of the Wild... Oh, you only need... Okay, it was double what I was thinking. You need 441. So, in theory, there are over 1,000. There are 1,000. You need less than half of all Korok seeds to unlock everything in Breath of the Wild. So in your first playthrough, you can get 441. And then in your second playthrough, you can get an entirely different set of 441 with zero overlap. Same thing is true in Tears of the Kingdom. You can get an entirely different set with no overlap. I guess there are only 900. Still, not 441 plus 441, that only gets you to 880. That's 20 to spare. That's Nintendo's modern design philosophy, is giving you more than you actually need, because they intend for you to replay the game, and when you replay the game, that second playthrough will be different. I know completionists hate this philosophy, and they say, you know, Mario Odyssey has too many moons. You know, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have too many Koroks. But I think in theory, it makes for something more interesting. Same thing is true in Donkey Kong Bonanza. To get the true ending, you only need, to do the final challenge, you only need 600 bananas. There's 1,000. And I think you can beat the game with, like, God, what is minimum banana to beat Donkey Kong Bonanza? You technically only need the tutorial level banana to beat the main story. Holy shit. And there are 1,000. And of course, the true, you know, I say the true ending. There are also 100% completion, which is all 1,000. But yeah, this is just Nintendo's design philosophy. And the same is true of Mario Kart World. There are 394 P-switches. You do not need a single P-switch to unlock anything. So much so that collecting every P-switch unlocks fucking nothing. And you know what? I think that's a problem with the game. I do think that a better designed game would have made it so that way collecting the P-switches actually... Because you have to play the game to unlock certain characters. I feel like collecting a certain number of P-switches should also unlock the characters. And like maybe once you collect enough P-switches, it unlocks Rainbow Road. Like collecting 100 P-switches unlocks Rainbow Road or something. So like that way, you know, you don't have to collect them all, but at least, you know, unlocking, let's say every 10 P-switches, it unlocked a new character. How many unlockable characters in Mario Kart World? So there are 7 main characters and 11 NPCs. So yeah, let's say it was every 10 P-switches unlocked a new character. So in theory, without playing the, you know, if you were just doing free roam, after you collected 180 P-switches, it would unlock every character. And then maybe getting 200 unlocks Rainbow Road and free roam. And then maybe, let's say 300 or maybe 250 unlocks mirror mode. Or maybe 200 unlocks mirror mode, and they'd be, you know, kind of like how the game is right now, they would just leave Rainbow Road out of free roam. That would have been interesting. Because Smash Bros. Does something similar. Or if you played Kirby Air Riders. In Kirby Air Riders, there are 2 ways to unlock almost every character in every kart. A lot of karts have 3 ways to unlock them. So I just feel like that's an oversight on the developer's part of like, sure, playing the races, doing the Grand Prix can unlock stuff. But if you just want to do free roam, you should also be able to unlock stuff. Because, yeah, at no point do you ever have to do any of this free roam stuff. But I'm doing it anyways, and I'm having a good time doing it. I want to be clear. Like, yeah, this is not the DS mission mode that we all wanted. But I'm not having a bad time. The one thing I do find very interesting, and again, an oversight on the Nintendo's part, is while there are some missions that are just races, where it's like, oh, do this race to this certain character. I wish there were more missions that had you racing against an NPC. Like, there was one race that was like, hey, race past this charging truck as they throw footballs back at you. And it was like, oh, this is like genuinely like a rivals race that you would see in like Burnout Paradise or something, where you have to like overtake this rival and beat them in a race. Like, oh, that, like, Kirby Air Riders is filled with shit like that. Mario Kart World, in 300 missions, I have seen it once. 90% of the missions are either race through rings or collect blue coins. So that really surprised me. But yeah, no, I'm having a good time, but yeah, at no point is it, you could never touch free roam. And I don't think you would be missing anything. It is entirely optional. You get no rewards for doing it. You don't even get a certificate that's like, hey, congratulations for collecting everything. Like, the little number turns yellow, and that's it. Like, fuck, man. Nintendo, again, for all the improvements they made to Mario Kart World and its movement system, they just did the bare fucking minimum on everything else. I'd even say, you know, not even giving the player like a, hey, congratulations, you got them all, is less than the minimum. Like, even Kirby would be like, hey, congratulations on getting all the keychains, or getting all the figurines. What a fucking disappointment. But it's still a fun game. Alright, so next up, let's talk Percy Jackson. So we're at the point of the Golden Fleece. The episode is, I think, specifically called Nobody Gets the Fleece, which is, obviously, you know, it's named after the chapter in the book. But I really do feel like this should be the penultimate episode, but there are 2 left. And I'm very curious after this one to see where they're going to go. So full spoilers ahead. So in this episode, Annabeth and Percy arrive at the island of the Cyclops. They have this plan where they're going to disguise themselves as sheep, sneak up to the hole above the cave, and then lure a rope down to pull Grover, and they find out Clarice is alive. Because they don't know Clarice is alive. So they're going to pull them out. Of course, we know from Polyphemus that this is all a trap. That, unlike the books, Polyphemus isn't an idiot. He's actually very clever. He gives this speech in this one. I think it was this episode. I don't think it was the previous one. I think it was this one. About how everyone he kills is just a voice that gets added to his collection. That he has the voices of all those who died before him. That, you know, he's the one who took the fleece to lure demigods and satyrs to his island, that Pan gave it. He makes it sound like Pan gave it to him, which, to be fair, I think that's kind of how it works in the book. I know definitely him having the fleece to lure satyrs is definitely a book thing, but they make Polyphemus might be clever in the book, but if I remember, he's kind of an idiot. But in this, no, he's like, they say he's clever, and he's actually clever. Like, yeah, he struggles fighting Annabeth, but she's invisible. I get it. I like the characterization of Polyphemus in the show. In the same way I talked last week about how they were reclaiming Cersei, they also reclaim Polyphemus, and I think they do a really good job at it. Because, yeah, Percy he goes up, he goes to lure down the rope and starts climbing down. When one, Polyphemus, knows that they're doing that, and so he cuts the rope. But 2, he set up a fake golden fleece. He just painted a fleece golden with, like, paint or whatnot. How he got the paint, who cares? I really don't care. It doesn't matter. But him setting up a fake fleece, so, like, even if they were to, like, overcome him and steal the fleece, they would have walked away with a fake. Like, that's good. That's interesting. So with that, Percy gets trapped in the cave. They try to escape. Annabeth distracts Polyphemus. And then Luke shows up. Because, yeah, I don't remember in the book. As far as I know, Luke shows up at the beginning on the Princess Andromeda. And that's it. Like, sure, he's got a monster army attacks camp at the end of the book, but I'm pretty sure outside of, like, maybe a dream sequence, I don't think Luke shows up again later in the book. I really like that. No, Luke shows up on the island as well. He tries to get the fleece, also realizes it's a fake. And then he's like, oh, Percy has the real one. And then Annabeth gets attacked by Polyphemus. She gets fatally, critically injured. Tyson shows back up, defeats Polyphemus, but Annabeth is dying. So Percy's given a choice. The last episode was all about Percy's fatal flaw, in which Cersei said in the last episode that Percy would sacrifice the world to save his friends. And that's exactly what this episode is. Percy is given a choice. Keep the golden fleece safe from Luke, or hand it over to Luke, someone who could use it to destroy the world, but save Annabeth. And Percy steals the golden fleece from Clarice, gives it to Luke, and then he uses it to save Annabeth, and then he takes Annabeth and they fuck off. I like that. I think that is a really interesting change, because yes, that is Percy's fatal flaw, is he would sacrifice the world to save his friends. But giving us that moment in this season is so important. Because that will, again, that comes up in later seasons, that comes up in later books. I'm specifically thinking about something in the next book. But no, in this moment, giving him that choice and seeing him, yes, choose Annabeth over the world is a good one. Especially because, you know, I fully think that Annabeth can steal back the fleece from Luke. I fully expect that to happen, because Luke also does steal their boat. But no, that is good. And then, of course, the episode ends. Tyson's killed Polyphemus. But I do like that Percy and him get that moment. I was really hoping that Percy would, like, because when Tyson talks with Polyphemus, he's like, oh, the mortals are all the same. And Tyson's like, no, Percy's a hero. And I really wish Percy had gone up to him and been like, no, Tyson, you're the hero. You're my hero. Or, like, we get something kind of like that, but it doesn't go as far as, like, I would have wanted it to. But it is still good. I like their reunion, because as far as he knew, he was dead. And, of course, at the end of the episode, they get the hippocampi, we get Rainbow, and they're going to go after it. So we got 2 episodes left. You know, I expect the party ponies, and the next one, because they can do things out of order. And and then they're going to end up back at camp. I don't know. So from what have come out, and I think the Nielsen ratings or whatever, I guess the second season of Percy Jackson is not doing as well as the first. That the views are just not there. And that really fucking sucks. I do partially blame Disney. I have not seen a single ad for this show. I've seen tons of ads for, like, Fallout and whatnot. I have not seen a single ad for Percy Jackson. Outside of, you know, people on TikTok who I know who talk about Percy Jackson. I have not seen, like, a single advertisement or anything. I got tons of advertisements for the first season. I've got nothing for the second one. Now, yes, is, you know, streaming a little crowded right now with stuff like Fallout and Pluribus just wrapped up and whatnot? Sure. But Disney, I feel like Disney's not doing anything to advertise it, and I'm really fucking worried that this is where it ends again. I'm really worried that, you know, last time we got 2 movies and they ended off with Sea of Monsters. Admittedly, that movie fucking sucks. I think the first Percy Jackson movie is not good. I have some nostalgia for it. Sea of Monsters just sucks. This show is so much better. But, God, I'm worried this is going to be it. I don't want this to be it. It's still good. The casting is still great. Sure, is it book accurate? No. But it's still good. It's still really good. I saw some people, speaking of the movie, I saw some people complaining about how the Golden Fleece looked, that they wanted it to look more like it does in the movie, because, you know, they were expecting, like, a golden cloth. But no, it's a fleece. It's a fleece from a sheep. Of course it's going to look like a fleece. Like, it looks accurate in the show, but that's just not what people picture. So, I don't know. I don't know what to do about that one. But, yeah, no, I think the show is great. I wish it was doing better than it currently is, because that kind of sucks that it's not. Just, at least let us get through the 3rd season, man. Like, I know they were competing about Stranger Things, but this is so much better than the ending of Stranger Things. Like, holy fuck, man. Did you see Stranger Things? Like, oh, shit. That Secret Good episode, by the way, did not happen. It's funny, we talked like 2 weeks ago about how anytime someone says there's going to be a Secret Good episode, you're fucked. And while I was talking about Taylor Swift at the time, yeah, same thing is true about Stranger Things. Because I've realized, to make a Secret Good episode, the episode before it also needs to be good. Because you can do a secret episode. The show Bluey, after the episode The Sign, we got a Secret Good episode, surprise. But The Sign was also one of the best episodes in the show's history. And then the surprise was just that. It was a Secret Good surprise. Meanwhile, Samalama Ding Dong comes off of, you know, as the secret bonus episode to the best season of Game Changer to date. And while the finale wasn't, you know, the best episode of the season, it was still a really good episode and a good ending to the season. Like if they had done Samalama Ding Dong after season 3, I wouldn't have bought it or season 6. Because Season 6, Ratfish was not a good finale. And if someone had been like, well, Ratfish was disappointing, they should do a secret good episode next, I would have been like, no, that's not going to happen. Because guess what? That's exactly what fucking happened. Some people were so disappointed by Ratfish that they thought we were going to get a secret good episode, and that didn't manifest until the next season, which ended on a good episode, and then we did get a secret good episode as well. But nobody ever listens to me. I can see the future, and nobody ever listens. Alright, let's talk AGDQ. So, if you do not know, if you have not been around the block, there's a speedrunning event for charity called GDQ. They do two major events. They do a lot of smaller ones, but there are two major events every year. AGDQ, which is done, early on in the year, it's the winter one. Awesome games done quick. And then they do SGDQ, which is the summer one. And I'm a big fan of these events. I support them every year. This year it's for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. It is most years, but yeah. I'm a big fan. I always give some money. I always buy some merch. Specifically, I've got a tradition of buying a coin. Every year, the Yeti does a coin. So I've got my good RNG, bad RNG, save the animals, kill the animal coins right here. Whenever my good RNG, bad RNG coin, whenever I want to bet on something, I always use this coin as like a, hey, good luck, bad luck coin. It's been my go-to coin. It's weighted terribly, probably, but it's a cool coin nevertheless. I love these little challenge coins, man. And they have a token this year, which it's hexagonal, but it's fine. It basically is the spirit of things. So I bought a coin. And then, of course, you donate some money. And yeah, this year's GDQ has been pretty good. We've had some good runs. Sure, was there a dog playing baseball this year? No. But we still had some really fun runs. Good energy. Lots of good runs. Admittedly, I do not watch everything. I actually feel like I didn't actually see that much of AGDQ this year. But I've been a little busy. But I did see a few things, so I just kind of want to go over a few of them. It's a good event. The finale starts here in... God, it might be starting now. Oh, yeah, the finale just started. Fuck. Started a minute ago. Wasn't I going to try to end by this point? That's shit. Finale's going on right now. They're doing Pokemon Emerald. It's a great showcase. It really is. Go check it out. It is so worth your time. So some runs that I really liked this year, because they also they put everything up on a VOD channel on YouTube. This was the first year, as far as I'm aware, that they streamed to both YouTube and Twitch. I actually really liked that. It's a lot easier for me to just open up YouTube and see it on my YouTube page than to have to open up Twitch, a separate app, deal with all of Twitch's bullshit. I really like that they did a simultaneous stream on Twitch this year, or on YouTube this year. Please keep doing that. That was great. So some runs that I really liked. They did a Shovel Knight King of Cards run. I love Shovel Knight so much. I've never personally speedrun Shovel Knight, but I've always been a big fan of Shovel Knight speedrunning, and a King of Cards run this year was really good. They did... I don't know how to pronounce it. It's Super Mario World backwards. Someone made a ROM hack of Super Mario World where you start off at the final castle. Well, final, Lemmy's castle. And then work your way backwards to, the starting levels and whatnot. It's kind of like, how Kid Icarus, the original on NES, you start off in the underworld, which is the hardest part of the game, and then finish in the heavens, which is the easiest part. It's kind of like that. You start off on the hardest levels, and of course all the levels you're running from the end goal to the start of the level. It's just a really entertaining run. Super Mario World backwards. Or Dewhurl, Oraram, Repus? Yeah. There was a Split Fiction run, which was done by... I should look up some of these runners' names as well. Split Fiction. It was a side story showcase run by Blackheart Wings and Professor Birch. And it wasn't the main game, but it was all like the side stories. So it was, you know, and it wasn't even all the sides, it was a showcase. I think of the 12 side stories, they did 10 of them. So it was like the pig one, you know, the comic book one. Not the comic book, the drawing not tablet. Sketchbook. Sketchbook is the word I'm looking for. So they did the side stories. The side stories, okay, I understand them not doing the laser one. That one would suck. Why didn't they do the teeth one? That's the other one they didn't, because they did, again, 10 of the 12. Why didn't they do is there something that hard in the teeth one? I don't know. I was really impressed by the black hole one, or the exploding sun one. That one's always fantastic to see. But yeah, that was a great one. Right after that Split Fiction one, Elite Spud did Luigi's Mansion, which was a fun time. They did 100% Luigi's Mansion. You know, we just played Luigi's Mansion a few months ago. Yeah, that was a good run to see. Game It did Once Upon a Katamari. I've been meaning to play all the Katamari games. I've only ever played the original, and I didn't even put that much time into it. I don't think I ever even beat it. I want to give Katamari another shot. I've heard Once Upon a Katamari is okay. Like, it's better than some of the other ones, but it's not as good as the original two. But I do want to play Once Upon a Katamari. Let's see. Oh, Super Mario World Backwards was run by Author Blues, and King of Cards was run by Dan the MVP. Oh, they started off with Super Mario Sunshine run by Inkstar. That was a good run to start off with. Let's see, what's another one that I liked? Of course, I mentioned earlier, there was the Mario Kart World one, run by Helix, and their partner was on the couch. And yeah, that was a real good one. Again, real quick. That was fun. The Jack run, there was a Jack race afterwards for 80% by Nintendo and Ziphilis, which was good. What else did I see? I was gonna watch, Professor Birch also did the Bill Nye one, and I was gonna watch that, as that was part of the science block, and I just missed it. They did, there was, Animal Crossing City Folk. They did a Golden Net race, so it was Blue Candy and Drew Peg. And Gold Net is, collect all the bugs. So in about 2 hours and 11 minutes, they did all the bugs. And yeah, that was fun. That was interesting. It kind of makes me want to do it in, like, one of the newer games. Like, I think that'd be cool. One of the best runs was shortly after that. And so it was an American Truck Simulator. A game I don't think about speedrunning. But they did a point-to-point race. So they were in Texas, they were starting in Amarillo, and making their way down to, like, Galveston, or somewhere like that. And it was Anarchy and Laszlo. And then on the couch, you had Buffalo Boone and Sapphire and Pink. But everyone was using, like, code names. So you had, like, Big Ned, and, you know, well, Buffalo Boone was just Buffalo Boone. Dispatch Diva was one of them. I think that was Sapphire and Pink. The Godfather was Chibikare. And it was just if you have to watch one run from GDQ this year, it is American Truck Stop Simulator. It's a 30-minute run. It's just a point-to-point race, but the energy is immaculate. They are having so much fun. They put on their best Midwestern accents. Buffalo Boone is just such a vibe. It is so funny, and it almost immediately goes wrong. They almost immediately get stuck, and that completely derails the race. There are some wild moments. The ending is crazy. It is so good. It is such a good 35 minutes. Easiest recommendation in the world. It is the must-watch thing from GDQ this year. Well, that and maybe one of the end things. I had such a great time with it. Go watch American Truck Stop Simulator. Or American Truck Simulator. It is the must-watch run of GDQ. I missed the Pokemon run. I missed the Versus Mario 64. Let's see. They did an awful run. So they did a bunch of, like, smaller bad games as part of, like, an awful run block. I admittedly did not watch any of it, but I definitely knew about it. Was it the 12 Bananas one I kept hearing about? Where they did, yeah, karaoke. Yeah, but yeah, there was an awful games block. They did a Splatoon one. They did the OG Splatoon. It was an 80% race with DG and Lantro. Yeah, that's a good one. Of course, you had to get a Super Metroid in there. Ryan Ford ran Super Metroid. I don't remember who won the bid. I've said it before, I am always a kill the animals guy. Save the frames, kill the animals. They did Expedition 33, which I did not watch, specifically because even though I don't think, like, wanting to play a game should make you not watch a speedrun, specifically if I am currently playing a game, I tend to not watch the speedruns. So, like, I also did not watch the Hades 2 run that was a few hours ago for that exact same reason. Oh, someone did, Shovel Claws did Minute? That might be a fun one to go back and see. I saw Lies of P, that was okay. Same thing with Dark Souls. Dark Souls was nice because he was in armor while doing it, that was fun. Galaxy also okay, Jay was doing that. Donkey Kong Bonanza was a great run by, Void. Void. Just any percent. They did blindfolded, but the audience got to choose were they going to do blindfolded Ocarina or blindfolded Majora. It ended up being Majora. It was a good run on the Wii. There were some issues, like, at the end. You know, they got some bad luck with Majora. But other than that, it was a great run. And that takes us to today, where they did Spider-Man on PS1, classic. I caught the very end of Final Fantasy Tactics, but yeah, it was a fine. And then the run from the moment, you know, the schedule came out, the run I was most excited for was the Super Mario 64 70-star 7-person relay. So this was put together by King J.O., and it was 70 different runners, all playing Super Mario 64. And they'd go up, they'd get their 1 star, and then somebody else would come up to get a different star. It did go over time. Like, I think their original schedule was, like, they wanted to do it in, like, an hour and a half. Ended up taking, like, an hour 40 or something like that. But it was a fantastic... It was everything I wanted it to be. I like that it wasn't just all, you know, people who played Mario 64. Like, there were some people who had never played Mario 64 before. I like that a lot of the runners were runners from others, you know, who had done other things. Like, one of the ones I skipped over earlier, they did an arcade showcase for the game My, which is like this arcade game with, like, rings. With, like, this big ring, and you, like, touch the lights. That was also a cool one that you should go check out. But they had the My runners there, and they did the Bowser fights. Because, you know, circles. But yeah, they had people who had never played, and, like, when King J.O. set it up, he was like, how much experience do you have? How hard of a star do you want to get? So there were like some people who would like, oh, I've never played before, I want an easy star. So he gives them like a toad star. And there were other people who were like, oh, I've never played before, but give me a hard star. So he set them up in TikTok clock. Of course, they all had some sort of practice. But yeah, they did a 70-person relay. They ended up doing a few bonus stars, you know. They fought Wiggler, Spike and JJSRL did Carpetless, which, oh my gosh. That was a fantastic run, though. I would love to do this. Honestly, at one point, King J.O. mentioned that they've done 120 stars relay once. And it took forever, and it was a very hard and kind of miserable run. It's because of the 100 coins. I get that. I would love one day to see 120 run at GDQ. I would love to see that happen. And yeah, that's the type of run I would love to be involved with. What star would I like to do? I don't know. There's a part of me that would love to do like something like... Would I like to do like a King Babam or something like that? Like, I don't want to do one of the basic ones, but I also don't want to do one of the... I definitely want to do something in like the early half of the game. Also, as part of it, you know, they had different skill levels. They also had 3 blindfolded runners. So 3 of the stars were done somewhat blindfolded, you know, some things happen, but they tried to do them blindfolded. That's all that counts. It was a fantastic run. Again, watch American Truck Stop Simulator, and then if you have some more time, this is the other one. The American Truck Stop is half an hour. This is an hour 40, but it's an hour and 40 that's worth it. It was good. Right after that was Wind Waker, which, it was Wind Waker, but they were doing Ace, so they were using code manipulation to set themselves up, so that way they go from early on in the game to just roll credits. If you've ever seen an Ocarina of Time speedrun where they do code manipulation, similar idea. The run took less than 30 minutes. I think if you want like a traditional or more traditional Ocarina or Wind Waker run, go watch Linkus's run from last year. But this was, you know, this is like pushing the game's code to its limit. And it was a decent run. It was a decent run. Yeah, it's not what I'm used to with Wind Waker, but I mean, I've seen it before with Ocarina of Time. And then after that, it was Elden Ring Night Rain, which was also a good run. It was a trio run. And then that was when I stopped because they did Hades, and I had to get ready to do this podcast. And yeah, here we are. And again, Emerald is going on right now. Literally, I'm going to end off and I'm going to go watch Emerald. So yeah, great AGDQ. They haven't let me down in years. I say they've let me down in the past. I don't even know if I'd say that. But no, it was a fantastically put together show. I don't even know why I said that. I can't think of like a time where I was like, oh wow, this AGDQ sucked. Yeah, that's never happened. They even did I saw either one of the segments in the show or it was like an article where they talked about how like they want to keep growing the show, but they don't want to get like too big for their britches. Like they want to keep pushing things, but they understand there's a limit, and they want to have fun with it. You know, they want to see what the players will do. Because again, I think of that dog baseball run from last year, where it's just like, yeah, do crazy stuff like that. No, so again, it's GDQ. It's always a great time. Go watch, go donate. I mean, you're running out of time to do it, but it is more than worth it. And this run right now, this Emerald run, I guarantee you is going to be worth it. So yeah. Okay, so I did have a book to talk about. We're gonna go through this in the animes real quick. Because again, I do want to get back to GDQ. So the book I have, I have Audible. I get that credit once a month with my subscription. And as part of that, I add stuff to the wish list, and I'm like, okay, whenever I get a new credit, I'll pick off something off the wish list. If, something else doesn't pop my interest. Which, the most recent... So, I picked up 2 books. One was... It's called... Oh, fuck, what's it called? It is... The one I actually used my credit on was called There Is No Anti-Memetics Division. It's a book by Quantum, KQNTM. I haven't read it yet. I picked it up with my credit. It's on my list. I don't know. I heard it was good. But the actual... When I was scrolling through my wish list, a book on my wish list called So Not a Hero was available for free. Occasionally Audible will, temporarily give away free books. This has happened in the past. Geekarella was one of them. So when I saw, like, hey, since the last time I've looked, this book is now free on Audible, I was like, you know what? Sure, I'll download it, and I might as well start reading it now. So I started listening to it. So Not a Hero is a book written by S.J. Delos, D-E-L-O-S, and it's a superhero book about a woman named Karen. Nakamoto? Karen something. Let me look it up. Karen Hashimoto. Okay, I was close. It's about Karen Hashimoto, who was a supervillain named Crushette. But 2 years ago, she had a falling out with the supervillain Dr. Maniac, who she worked for. And now, after 2 years in jail, she's back out on the streets. But instead of being a villain, she's joined up with a hero group called the Good Guys. Listen, I don't mind any of the names. In the modern 21st century, a lot of the good names have been taken. We work with what we can. So Karen, she gets joined up with the Good Guys. If I had to say this book felt like anything, it's Harley Quinn, right? Karen as Crushette is Harley Quinn. Dr. Maniac is the Joker. And in the same way that Harley Quinn eventually became a good guy, Karen, becoming the superhero KO, not spelled like how you think it is, eventually becomes a hero. It's Harley Quinn's redemption. That's what it reminds me a lot of. And in theory, I find that interesting. I know some people hate hero Harley Quinn. I think it's fine. Again, if you've never seen the Harley Quinn show, I do recommend it. For a lot of Harley Quinn stuff, it does a lot of heavy lifting. If you don't like the new costume, watch the show. It does a good job at it. If you don't like her becoming a hero, watch the show. It does a good job at it. If you don't like her relationship with Ivy, it does a good job at it as well. And yeah, check yourself, because I will fight you on that one. God, I love them so much. So yeah, in this, Crushette, aka Karen, aka KO, she's trying to redeem herself as a former villain. She wants to be a hero, because she doesn't believe, like, she's worthy of it. And so there's this real struggle of, like, originally when she got her powers, she tried to be a hero. Full spoilers for the book, by the way. I'm just going to spoil everything. When she got her powers, she wanted to be a hero. But in the process of trying to save people, her brother died. And then the hero blamed her for her brother's death. So she swore revenge against this hero, who doesn't even show up in the book, by the way. I don't even know if he's alive. But, he blamed her, so she swore revenge, and that's how she met this Dr. Maniac, this Joker guy. And then they became an item. And eventually it's revealed the reason they kind of fell apart is because she got pregnant. She got pregnant with this Dr. Maniac's child. And realizing, like, oh God, she's not ready to be a parent. He's a maniac, he can't have kids. They're just gonna fuck up this kid. She runs away, and, you know, turns herself in and gives Dr. Maniac's info away in exchange for, you know, the kid getting, you know, witness protection. Okay, honestly, I think that's a decent explanation. The whole backstory, right, where she wanted to be a hero, she had a brother who believed she could be a hero. I do like that. The superhero team that she joins, the good guys, they're okay. She quickly forms buddy-buddy with Alexis, who has like ghost powers. She's okay. There's Omega Girl, who can like shoot energy beams. There's not Mr. Terrific, but it's something like he's like super strong or something. There's an Iron Man style guy who has like mind control abilities. It's not mind control, but it's like pheromones that make you like him more. There's a smart guy named Daniel, whose superhero name I don't remember. And then there's a rocket guy, a guy who can like turn his legs into like jet rockets. I'm sure there's somebody else I'm forgetting, but that's more or less the team. Things I do have the writing, it's not great, but it's not terrible. Like, it's basic, you know, God, like 6 out of 10 writing. Yeah, I've definitely read worse, but I've also definitely read better. It's very simple, very straight to the point. Same thing with the audiobook narration. Like, for book 2, they've changed the narrator, and I kind of get it. But some things I do have a problem with is, so Karen does have Harley Quinn doesn't have powers. Karen does. She has super strength, super speed, and invulnerability. She's really strong. She can lift almost a ton, I think they say, run over 100 miles an hour, and she's basically invulnerable. As a drawback to her powers, she is very dense. I want to say they say she weighs like 900 pounds or something like that. Like, she's very dense. She can't sit on most chairs or else they will like collapse beneath her because she's so heavy. I like that there are some drawbacks to her powers. Okay. The one thing I don't like, though, she's not muscular. You know, they constantly talk about how, she's, you know, so small. She's like 5'6". She's so slender. She's got a tiny waist with a big boobs and big butt. They constantly talk about how, like, small she is. And yet, every other person in the book who has, like, super strength is, like, really big and really muscular. Like, because I've seen that there is a problem where whenever a woman has super strength, she's like super small and super skinny, whereas, you know, when a man has super strength, they get all big and muscular. And like, yeah, you know, that's part of why people like She-Hulk, because she is allowed to be big and muscular. Admittedly, some artists do less than others, but for the most part, you know, she's allowed to be more. Like, I've seen a lot of people calling out, there's a DC comic coming out right now called Cheetah and Cheshire Robbed the Justice League. And there's a trans character in it called Featherweight. Now, I don't have any problem with Featherweight. I think the design is fine. Yes, is it stereotypically trans? Kind of, yes. But also, I do know trans people who do just dress like that. Like, it may be a stereotype, but it's also an accurate one. That's not my problem with Featherweight. My problem is that they have super strength. Like, that's their big thing, is they have super strength, but they're small, they're slender. Like, and I get it, that's the point of the name. The name is Featherweight because they look small and they look slender, but they're actually, like, super powerful and super strong. I get that. But I feel like that's every female character with super strength, is they're all small and slender. And I think that's just less interesting. What can I say? It's less accurate. Like, if it was a male character, they'd be different. But no, that's my one problem with KO. Now, at the end of the book, spoiler alert, they do lose the density thing. They still have the invulnerability, they still have the super strength. They lose the super speed, and they lose the density, but instead gain the ability of flight. Okay. Other things, eventually, at one point, Alexis, I think Phantasm's the name, almost dies, and they have to bring in Dr. Maniac to save her. And I do like that she makes the deal. This is where you find out about the baby. Because, you know, Dr. Maniac is, you know, a maniac. As it turns out, he's got, like, 2 girls that are, like, shapeshifters that he's shapeshifting pretend to be Alexis. Because he's still... pretending to be Karen, I mean. Because he is still a villain. Like, you gotta remember. Like, even though he helps her out multiple times, he is still the villain. He is still the Joker. Karen does get a boyfriend. There's this detective guy who she starts dating. Something I did not know about this book going in, it is spicy. Literally, in the first chapter, because she's on parole, she gets in trouble with her parole officer, and instead of taking her back to jail, the parole officer says, "Oh, I'll let you stay out as long as you have sex with me." So she has sex with him in the first chapter. Yeah, that's super fucked up. There is like an actual, like, consensual sex scene later on that goes over a lot better. But I did not know that. I don't know if I would have read this if I had known it was a spicy book. By this point, I'm already invested enough so that I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, I did not know this was spicy. I will say that. I did not know that. There's only, there's that one scene in, like, the first or second chapter, and then a little more than halfway, there's, you know, an entire chapter that is just a sex scene. And then that's kind of it. They do mention multiple times, they're like, oh, people are, she complains that people are staring at her big boobs, or, you know, when she gets into a fight, her clothes almost get burned off. So yes, there is definitely some spice in this book. But, it was okay. I was invested just enough to finish it. I'm sure someone who gives more of a shit wouldn't have even bothered finishing it. But I was just kind of down to read something. I've been working on this book since New Year's. I only just finished it. I am going to pick up the second one. I'll probably finish it in like a week or two. It was not very long. I think the audiobook was like 8 hours or something like that. It was not that bad. I will probably pick up the second one. There's only 2 right now. But yeah, I want to talk about that at some point. Yeah, I would not recommend it. Again, just go watch the Harley Quinn show. I think it does a lot of the same things, and I think it does it a lot better. Next up, we got 2 animes that we didn't have time to talk about last week. I might as well talk about them now. So the first one is called Skeleton Knight in Another World. This is an isekai. A guy was playing this video game where, you know, he was a skeleton knight. Specifically, he had chosen his, like, race as skeleton. And he became the super strong knight. And then one day he just wakes up and he's in the video game. This isekai is a lot more, you know, it's trying to be fun with it. Like, yes, the main character is overpowered. I do like, though, that he's not, like... He's overpowered because of his skills, not in his combat. So when he actually meets a swordsmaster, when they're just doing, like, a practice match, he gets his fucking ass kicked. Because he can't use any of his abilities. Like, his abilities make him strong. The second he has to just do, like, some training with, you know, out of magic, he gets destroyed. That was funny. But yeah, this guy, he teams up with this elf woman to go rescue these captured elf children. And they end up, you know, he's claiming to just, oh, he's a mercenary. He's just looking for, you know, he wants money to get, like, food and booze. He's just in the video game world to have a good time. You know, there's no sense of like, oh, well, you know, I've got to solve this problem. I've got to return back to my normal world. Nah, he's just in it for fun. I know some people hate that about isekais, that, like, they think that, like, the number one priority of an isekai should be to return home. Nah, this guy doesn't care. Eventually he does realize that he is cursed. that him being a skeleton isn't just like a race thing, but like the elves he meets up with, they eventually are like, you know, you're probably cursed, and if you go to this like sacred spring, you might be able to undo the curse. Because he has a spell that undoes a curse, and it like turns his hand back into a normal hand for like a second. But yeah, of course, by the end of the show, it's a 12-episode anime. He doesn't fix the curse. They save a bunch of elf children. They team up with some beast people and save a bunch of captured beast people as well. And then that's kind of where the show ends. Like, they're gonna go off to the sacred spring, but they never actually do. I don't know. The show's okay. It wants to be lighthearted and fun, but like, rape almost happens like 3 times. There's a lot of talk about slavery. Like, for all of its attempts to be lighthearted, it's like B and C plots can actually be kind of, in theory, can be dark. They never go far enough, but like, you'll have like a male character start ripping off a female character's clothing to like rape her, and then the skeleton knight will just come in and kill the guy. But like, yeah, I don't think it's too ecchi. I mean, it kind of is, but you know, no more than like your typical anime. Like, it never turns into an H anime, if I could say that. I've seen worse isekai, what can I say? Which gets us on to our next show, Sweet Reincarnation. This is a worse isekai. So, the premise behind this one, which I thought it had potential. It's about a guy where in our world, he was like this renowned pastry chef. You know, he was a patissier. We see right before he dies, he was working on this like giant phoenix statue made out of like crystalline sugar, and it like collapses on him and kills him. So of course he's like, oh, if I had another chance, I would fill the world with sweets. And the gods are like, okay, here's your second chance. So he's reborn into this like small noble family. He's the youngest son. He's the like 6th child. He's got like 5 older sisters, even though they're all gone by the time the show starts, except for like 1. And you know, he just wants to bake sweets. But since he's in a medieval fantasy world, sugar doesn't really exist. Like, most food supplies don't exist. Like, he's in like the first or second episode, they're finally able to get like some apples. So he's like, finally, I can bake an apple pie. But yeah, they're living in this like small, underdeveloped village. They're trying to grow over time because it was originally barren land. The big thing is, like, the main character talks about like, oh, I want to fill the world with sweets. I want to be a pastry chef, a baker. But anytime he like starts doing that, he gets interrupted by like politics. Like, oh, there are bandits in town. Oh, he hooks up these 2 people and someone's trying to kill the bride. Because, of course, this wouldn't be an isekai without OP powers. And the main character gets the power to copy anything, so he can, like, copy other people's powers. He can make pictures, like, he can make, like, an instantaneous copy of anything he sees. So you've got that element of the show. But, like, it's really just, like, the main character is, like, using his modern-day knowledge to try to, like, improve the fantasy space, and his OP powers help him do that easier. Like, he digs a reservoir. They start trying to get bees to make sugar. Like, I get it. I get the appeal, but it's, like, every time they're... Like, if it had just been a show where a guy gets isekais into a fantasy world, and he solves all of his problems by baking... I've seen a similar show. There was one called that was like Campfire Cooking in Another World. That was the exact same idea. You know, he's isekai'd and he solves all of his problem by cooking. And that was a fun show. I liked that one. There was another one that was like Farm Life in Another World. That was all about this guy starting like a farm homestead and all the crazy people he met along the way. That one's also fun. This one is just those 2 things combined, but it's also worse. It's also a worse show than both of them. because he keeps getting involved in politics and these military campaigns that he wants nothing to do with, but they keep interrupting his baking, so he has to do them. He eventually gets engaged. He saves this girl's life. There's a pair of twins, and he's helping one of them get engaged. But in the process, the other twin gets kidnapped. And so he saves the other twin, and then afterwards, like, the father is so thankful that he's like, hey, why don't you marry my daughter? Also, I wish the main character was older. He's like 10 years old, and he's going into like these political strategy meetings. He's making deals on his father's behalf. And it's like, if he had been like 16, maybe 8, like, yeah, let's say 16, I probably could have bought it. Again, fantasy isekai bullshit. But the fact that he's like 10, I don't buy it at all. So it was not a good show. Sweet Reincarnation. I've seen a lot of generic isekais. This is one of the worst ones. It's not like, there's nothing like technically bad about it. It's just so bland and generic. I'd give it, God, probably a 4. Like, I've definitely seen worse. And, like, it never gets, like, I finished it. You know, a truly worse show I probably never would have even finished. I at least watched all 12 episodes. So, yeah, let's say a 4. Whereas Skeleton is probably closer to, like, a 6 or a... Yeah, let's say a 6. And, yeah, those are the 2 animes. With that... you know what, fuck it, let's just end off here. I'll exit out of this match or whatever. So, what's coming in the next week? Oh my... Wait. Fuck. Fuck me. Of course I get the 100x battle when I'm using this shitty weapon. God damn it. Like, if we had been using either of the buckets... I also hate this map. I'm pretty sure I hate this map. I don't like either of the maps in the rotation, really. At least not for the Splatfest like this. So what is coming next? I know... the new Animal Crossing update, the 3.0 update, and the Switch 2 version comes out on Thursday. So I think on Thursday, we'll sit down, we'll start it up, and, because I know technically it might come out like Wednesday night. No, it might come out Wednesday night, but we're going to worry about it on Thursday. So we'll start off new Animal Crossing, we'll create a new world. I do not know what I'm going to name that world. I realized that earlier today. Was like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to give this island a name, aren't I? Because our last island was named Pyre. My New Leaf Island was named Marrymore. I know Marrymore came from Super Mario RPG. Pyre, on the other hand, I don't remember where that came from. I'd have to go watch our first episode to see. So I'm currently trying to think of a new name. But yeah, we'll create a new island. We'll generate a bingo board. I should do that. I'll do it tomorrow. But yeah, we'll generate the bingo board on the same day. And then yeah, we're playing 1 hour a day, 30 days. That's gonna be it. No going to 69 this time. Simple 30 days, 1 hour a day. We'll find our fun where we can. We're not doing the DLCs or anything like... We'll do the hotel stuff, presumably we can. But I'm not doing anything else. I'll try to have a good time where I can. I don't know, especially after watching that City Folk speedrun, there's a part of me that's actually kind of excited to play Animal Crossing again. Like, oh yeah, this is gonna be a good time. We're gonna have fun. You know, it's been a few years. Sure, did I put down New Horizons for the last time just last year when we finally, after like 5 fucking years, completed the museum? Yes. But still, I don't plan on doing the museum or anything like that. I'm just, you know, gonna try to make it aesthetically a pleasing island. I had one idea. I had one idea for something I wanted to do on the island. Realistically, it'll just depend on how, you know, we start, like, what we start with. But I think it should be fun. But we'll do all that next week. We got our asses kicked. We started off with a wipeout, which was good, but I did terribly. I'll definitely take the blame for that one. That was fucking awful. That was definitely my fault. At least part of it. Yeah. That sucks. But yeah, that's where we're gonna end off. We'll be back on Thursday with that. Yes, the next few in-chats will be in Animal Crossing. I don't think it's that big of a deal. It'll happen. You know, we got time to kill anyways. But just kind of be aware of that. And maybe we'll come back with either 3D World or Pikmin. But that's gonna be in February. But with that, I think that's where we're gonna end off. So, I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Till next time, peace.